Hi.
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 Welcome to Why Are We Like This? I'm Ashley, she, her, and today I have two familiar voices back with me. I have my Season 3 co-host and host of Into You and Last Week On.
Adam Strawn, my pronouns are he, him, his.
Hey. And I have one of my best friends who I met through this podcast.
Hi, I'm Andi, she, they.
And we are here today to talk about Heated Rivalry, Episode 3, Hunter.
Oh, this episode, yes.
Woo! Okay, so there's a couple of things that I didn't say in the last episodes that I just want to get out there. Shout out to Sarah on Discord for being the resident Heated Rivalry expert.
Mm-hmm.
The director of the Ilya Shane photo shoot, the a lot of intensity guy, is Jacob Tierney. That voice threw me off that he does. I went back and listened and was like, it still doesn't sound like him, but you can get a little glimpse of him for a second. So I thought that was a cool little thing that I didn't know. And then also, I love the way that they show us when they're looking at videos of each other on their phone, or like in the next episode when you see the pictures of Rose come up, the way that they show us that they're watching on a phone or a TV by making it a smaller frame on our TVs.
Yeah.
Is really effective. And I didn't mention it in the last two episodes.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. Cool stylistic choices.
And then I just thought this was funny. Madeline on Instagram commented on a post I put up about Shane's panic and putting on the suit.
Yeah.
And said that Shane was having a proper full-on gay crisis. And I was like, I can't believe. I cannot believe I did not make that joke on mic. So.
That was a missed opportunity.
Yeah, it really was. It really was. Okay, so before we get super into it, do y'all have, I've been letting everyone just kind of do their overall show thoughts since, I know you two will be back on an episode, but is there anything from episodes 1 and 2 that you want to just shout out or have anything that you want to say about them?
Well, as Ashley knows, because like she said, we're her best friends, so we're talking about this in text all the time. But I could probably write several theses about this show and just how the way it's put together, and from so many different angles that a paper could be written about how amazing it is. But I think one of the things that I love that is actually interesting in contrast to this episode is that so often romance stories that we see are always told with this really long buildup of a relationship before any sex is, and this flips that on its head. It does in lots of ways, but I feel like that's something this does that is not done very often. And I think there's a place for that. And I think that is a really beautiful way of doing it. Even if you take out, I love that it's a queer storyline that they do it with, but even taking the queer storyline out of it, just that aspect of a romance, I really like. And then the only other thing to say about it as a whole is I love that Jacob Tierney wanted to make it this completed open end romance. So we didn't have to leave the end of the show with angst or cliffhangers of whether they were going to get back together, whether another episode was going to come out, or, whether a new season would be made or whatever. I like that it was made with the intention to show us the start of a romance and that the couple gets together, and I like that it left you with that good, it intentionally left you with a good feeling. And right now the world is so fucked up, and I don't know about you, but this is one of the few things that is making me feel good in the midst of a ton of really, really shitty stuff happening in the world. So that's my take on the season as a whole.
Which is funny that he said that and that he did it that way, but then he gave us 4 episodes with just the most heart-wrenching endings before we start getting to the good stuff.
I know.
It's so interesting because now we're at a time where when politically things went a particular way, and we're sitting in that right now, that there's so many TV shows that backed away from queer narratives out of fear of that they wouldn't do very well. And we've seen that with companies that have backed from queer branding or getting involved in queer spaces or companies or whatever that may be for fear of, oh my God, they won't do as well. And it's so nice that, two of the biggest shows from last year are ones with queer characters at the center, right? So you've got Heated Rivalry, Pluribus, I'm sure there's others I'm forgetting about as well. But it just shows that, these are two shining examples of how, yes, it's almost like we are fighting back to show you just how talented we can be. So I think that's really, really powerful actually right now. And shout out to Pluribus as well. What a show. If you don't watch it, go and watch it, because it's fantastic. But it's interesting with Heated Rivalry because Ashley and I were texting, and when the first couple of episodes came out, I'll admit I put my hands up, and Ashley was like, Adam, are you fucking insane? But like, I didn't immediately jump into it and find it attaching itself to me quickly. I'll admit I was one of those people. And I guess here's my reasons why. So like the first two episodes, I guess more episode 1 than episode 2. Don't get me wrong. There was some absolutely very hot moments in those episodes because duh, right? I mean, that shower scene, who hasn't watched GIFs of that 5,000 times?
Yeah, that's true.
Like hell. But
the peachy ass that was seen around the world.
Yeah.
But yeah, like for me, so if you compare it to episode 3, like the first kind of 2 episodes, for me, like especially episode 1, it kind of, the way I summed it up was as if I was looking at like a relationship through Instagram, where I'm seeing like the best bits, but I'm not getting to like really get to know the characters and sit with them. Like we pick up where these like two guys, I know they have their introduction, but like time is moving, right? In that first episode, we are going, whereas episode 3, we have so much longer to sit with the characters. And, don't get me wrong, I get it. Like, once you then watch, like, the whole season and then go back and watch episodes 1 and 2, you see a lot of that little, when you go, oh, yeah, like, oh, my God, that's when this was happening. And this is when the feelings were starting to develop. However, without that initial context of the rest of the season, episode 1 and 2 for me did just feel like I need to get to know these two people more, because right now they're very attractive and I can see this attraction to each other. But, like, I need to see more. And I feel like once episode 3 landed, I was like, okay, I'm fully in. And then when episodes 4, 5, and 6 hit, I was like, oh my God, this is everything. So then now when I go back and watch the season with that prior context of like, the rest of the season, I'm like, okay, I can appreciate 1 and 2 more.
Yeah. I kind of wonder if a little bit of that was intentional too, though, because like we're supposed to kind of feel the way the characters do, like the way all of the shots are done, like for example, like in the gym scene, it's flashing between the angles to see from their perspective of how they're seeing each other. And so I feel like maybe a little bit of that like disconnect we're supposed to feel, because the characters are also still feeling that disconnect.
Yeah, exactly.
If something's designed to make you feel disconnection, well, then that's a hard sell for me.
Which is fair.
We even said in text, actually, we're like, oh my God, like you're one of the few people I've met who wasn't in from the start. And I was like, well, this is kind of why, like what I'm saying now, But now going back, I'm like fully in that there's no escape, like I am fully invested. So yeah.
Yeah, Adam, you had me fired up in the beginning.
Oh, I know.
Well, should we dive in?
Let's do it.
Let's do it.
Okay, first I want to say I said this last episode, but I love that we get previously ons for every episode.
Yeah.
And I love that this previously on is like, here's every Scott Hunter scene we've ever seen in the first 2 episodes all at once.
Yeah. Especially in this episode, it was important because we left the other main characters.
Right.
So
yeah.
We kind of needed to be reminded who he was, I think.
So yeah, we open up at the Olympics. We have this ice cream meetup shot all redone again. We get this discussion with Carter Vaughn about how it's not safe and how brave it is for an openly queer person to come here. But this time, instead of zooming in on Shane, we zoom in on Scott. And I love Carter Vaughn. Like, he is just so supportive. He gives me golden retriever puppy vibes. And I hope we see more of him in season 2.
I do too, because he's great in the book too.
He's like such a supportive friend as well. That's what I like. He's like, he's supporting them without realizing that he is. You know what I mean? Like, so like they're both sitting there and hearing this from thinking, okay, like if only everyone was like you, but like, it's like, it's the conversations we have with people without realizing we're having that conversation, and that happens quite a few times in this episode as well. But I just love that. And that character is so great. He's such like just a joy whenever he's on screen with other characters,
Yeah. Also, like at the end of this episode, we get Vaughn saying like, get ready, man. It's the gold medal game or whatever. So that means that this discussion that they're having right now, about where Vaughn is like basically saying, I see this person and I respect them, is after Scott and Kip have already started to take their space. And so what a moment for Scott this has to be. And like the conflicting feelings, because like here is presumably his best friend. Like he's the only one we ever see him hanging out with.
In the book, he's his best friend.
Okay. Saying that he respects this man for living authentically, which is great, but he's also at the same time reminding him or like reinforcing the fear that it's not safe to come out. And so it's like all of these emotions at once.
And it's also really interesting how like the shot then goes to focus on, you know, in the second episode it focuses on Shane's view of this, and then this one it veers towards Scott, so we can see like this episode's going to focus on his view of it. And it just got me thinking, like when I did my rewatch this time, like if only those two had like looked at each other, right, they may have realized like it's just really sad that they didn't have the chance to realize they could have felt safe to talk to each other about it, because they literally were both in the exact same situation at that same time. And it would have been really beautiful to see that. So I hope we'll see it eventually.
It would have been lovely, definitely, if they both kind of shared a glance. But like, surely the friend must have been looking, thinking, Jesus, did I say something? Because like they're both sitting there like, you know, like, did I just kill the conversation?
The gay panic that settled on that table right away.
I don't think Carter noticed at all, though. He is like very into his ice cream.
100%. But like, hilarious to think if he looked up and he's like, Jesus, what the hell? Like,
So then we get this like New York City landscape with the 4 months ago timestamp. And so this is when I start trying to do my mental math. I'm like, okay, it's 4 months till the Olympics. And they have like about 2 months of flirting at the smoothie shop before it turns into anything, because Kip tells Elena a little over 2 months when she asks later. So I'm like slowly working out the timeline in my brain.
I like that they got it correct. That the shot over Central Park is in the autumn, so like you can see, because I noticed that a lot in shows, like when they're filming at a different season than it's supposed to be, you can tell by the trees that they're actually not in the right season. So I like that this is supposed to be fall, and they have the right
landscape
shot over.
Also, I have to admit that it took me so many rewatches before I realized that the fucking song is playing in this episode too. I was like, my brain tied it into Elena's speech at the end, but I didn't tie Elena's speech into this song at the beginning of this episode. I only tied it into the end of episode 5. And so it took a lot of rewatching before I was like, oh my God, this is their song.
It's like when it first started as well, like I totally forgot about the start of the song. So like when it starts with that boom, 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 and I was like, what the hell is this awful noise? And then like then when the actual song kicked in, I was like, oh my God, we're here. Because I always associate that song so much with like, I don't know, Ilya and Shane. Like I just, in my mind, it plants it with them. So then when I was like, oh my God, no, wait, it's used here. And then it's used later. I was like, oh my God, okay. I'm like so muddled up, but I completely forgot as well.
So good. So we see Scott running through the city, and he's like listening to a podcast about hockey where they're just like ripping him to shreds, basically. They're talking about how he scored 70 points last season, and they're 6 games into this season, a season that he called need to win, and that he has 0 points. He's in a fog, they say. And they say, I love the line where they're like, he's barely skating. And I'm like, isn't that kind of the whole...
Right. This isn't figure skating. Like, what are we doing?
And they're like, Andy's already been announced as Team USA's captain at the Olympics. And he's like listening to all this, running like hard. And I think it was an interview with Francois where he said like he's running from what they're saying basically in this scene.
I saw a thing where he said like his friends were like sending him videos
about the Phoebe
out, like comparing him to the Phoebe shot, and I was like, it's exactly what I thought when I first saw it. It's Just like Phoebe from Running Through Central Park.
Yes.
He like runs past Central Park. Can you imagine?
Yeah. She joins them.
Yeah.
He claims he was running like that on purpose.
I don't know if I
think
believe
I
that.
need to see the evidence of what he looks like a normal run, because I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't even know why he would be listening to this, though, because I feel like in general, he's pretty, like, tries to keep his mental health away from a lot of that stuff. I mean, at least in the books, he doesn't have social media. He doesn't, like, involve himself in this. So I just think, I don't even understand why he's letting himself do that, but I guess it is a good way of putting us into the frame of mind he's in when he goes into the shop for the first time.
Yeah.
I think it's 100% that.
Yeah, also, it is like they're ripping him apart for his playing, but like at this point that's kind of all he has. So they're basically ripping his life apart.
What I kind of wondered when I watched it back, they say something about like how he crashes and burns half the way through every season, and it just kind of made me wonder. The first time I heard it, I thought, I wonder if that's because like all the pressure that he's burying himself just gets to him that way partway through the season, or like I'm curious what that particular note was about.
Yeah,
the pressures sometimes that we're under as queer people to hide ourselves, like it can get to you, and I was wondering if that's like the setup too of how every year he does great in the beginning and then it just all piles up on him and he can't handle it anymore. And it's a little bit of foreshadowing of, even though he continues to perform well and ends up at the gold medal game at the Olympics, like he's still like really struggling.
Yeah.
Even.
And I think it's also like an intro to the fact of what actually he feels like is sitting on his shoulders by, you know, coming out and what he could lose. So like, if they hate me for my game, then what else can they hate me for if I do come out, you know? So there's a little bit of added pressure there as well.
Yeah.
That's a good point.
Then we get our Heated Rivalry title card. So he takes off his headphones, he looks up and he sees a smoothie shop and he thinks, why not? And he walks in and, oh boy, can you see completely through his top.
Yeah.
I was like, I can see every muscle.
Yeah, the entire six pack is there, or more, maybe. Yeah.
The man behind the counter is asleep on the stool, which is a skill to sleep on a stool like that. And yes, I have done it.
Listen, we've all been there.
Yeah.
I like that we really quickly get like a shot of his name badge so we know exactly who he is right away, and the little detail of showing the book that he's reading, like, so we know who he, like, it's a good way of introducing us to who this kid is, or guy is. He's not really a kid, but yeah.
I also just low-key love the way Scott says Kip.
Yeah.
Something about his pronunciation that just makes me laugh. All right,
he pops the P every time.
Yeah.
That's a flirty choice is what that is.
Yes.
So he like clears his throat. Kip jumps up. I'm so sorry. And he's like, no, it's fine. And he's like, how can I help you? And he's like, well, what's good? And like, as Scott is thinking about it, we get this shot of Kip and his eyes just like trail all the way down Scott's torso. And then he like takes a breath and is like, whoo, okay.
We're all Kip in that moment. Let's be real.
Yeah.
Totally.
But it was a really good way of showing like how like unaware he was when he first woke up. Like he didn't even notice who he was. And then he's standing there and he's like, okay, now he takes a breath. And then he's like, oh shit, you know?
Yeah, who the fuck is this?
Yeah.
And so he's like, so what's good, you know? And he says, just a bunch of very decent smoothies with deeply stupid names. And he says, okay, well, I mean, the best one is the blueberry one, but... And he says, oh, you mean Blue Moon over Brooklyn? I love the way the line delivery there is like, you were correct about these being the dumbest names ever. And he's like, yep, that's it. And he says, but what? And I love he's like, tries to deny that he's like, oh, nothing. And he's like, well... just when I make it for myself in the morning, I add banana. And Scott's like, oh, so you're kind of wild. I'm like, he's not holding back on the flirting at all. He is like all in from the second he walks in here.
Yeah, he's like licking his lips when he stares at him the first time. So, I mean.
Yeah. And he's like, I mean, it wouldn't be the first time somebody's told me that. And he's like, yeah, okay, that sounds good. Blueberry and banana. I'd take that. If it's okay to order off the menu. And this is when you get the Kip with the like popped pea.
So good.
So he goes over and he makes the smoothie. And Scott's like, quote unquote, looking at his phone. Because basically the whole time they're checking each other out, like in and out.
I love the catching glances. It's so good.
Yeah.
And he brings it back over and, okay, I know everybody's probably talked about this, but let's just go ahead and say it. That's juice. It's not a smoothie. It looks like a terrible smoothie.
Yeah.
Yeah, really watery.
And Scott picks it up and takes a sip and he's like, oh, you weren't kidding. It's really good. And Kip says, yeah, the banana makes a big difference. And my like dirty brain is like, oh my God, you guys are killing me.
God, same. He takes his time peeling banana as well and looking over at Scott. You know, I'm like,
he does.
And the way he like puts it into the smoothie thing and like meets his eye at the same time.
So they're like basically looking away and blushing the whole time. And he hands him the receipt, which clearly has a hefty tip. And Kip is like, oh no, this is way too much. And he's like, it's for you. It was a great smoothie. Thanks again, Kip. And goes to walk out. And the camera like slowly pans over to reveal that Maria has been sitting there. And I know that it's very likely that she came in the middle of this interaction and sat down to watch. But I love the idea that she was there the whole time. And she's like, oh, this guy doesn't even see me. He only sees that Kip is there sleeping. I'm going to see how this pans out. And like sit there and was like, I'm going to watch this whole thing.
Her face in that moment is comedy gold. Yeah. She's just like, girl. Like, it's
so
just
good.
Amazing. Like, that facial expression alone on her face says everything. So good.
So good.
I think I use like on my Discord and stuff now, like that gif of her saying girl. Like I think I use that, probably one of the most used ones now since somebody made it.
It's so good.
Yeah.
And we see him like leaving and some other rando is coming in and he's like, holy shit. And he like walks over to the register. He's like, was that Scott Hunter? And Kit says, was that what? Which I think is so funny. And he's like, Scott Hunter, the hockey player. And he turns back around to Maria and she says, girl. So good.
And one little detail I noticed, that guy who comes in, he is wearing an Admiral's hat. So he is like a hockey fan. And the hat itself is like well worn, like it has like sweat lines along the back and everything. So I just love like that little detail. Like that's the reason that guy noticed, is because he's a hockey fan. But like it's a great way of then introducing it through somebody else, like rather than him having to say, I'm Scott Hunter, you know, like somebody else tells us that that's who it is. And it's somebody who would be like, oh my God, I just saw him come through, you know?
Cute. I love that. So then we head on over to the gay bar and we see that the TV is switching over to hockey. And the announcer lets us know that it's Anaheim versus the Admirals. And we see that Kip and Maria and another man whose name we don't know until a few seconds from now, Sean, is sitting there. And the bartender, Kyle, says, and this is what we're watching? And Sean is like, we barely see you because you're always working. But at least when we do, we get to watch, what is this? Let me check my book. Hockey? So good.
I love Sean. He's hilarious.
Yes. Yeah. And he's a good friend, I think. So they have the back and forth. Like, he's like, shut up. And Kyle's like, oh, so you want me to turn it off? And Kip's like, no. And we get our first set of, thank you, Kyle, from the two of them. So then Maria like goes in. She's like, twice. He said Kip. Like, he used your actual name twice. And Sean says, Maria, that is setting the bar so low. Which got a full cackle out of me the first time. I was like, for real, though. She says, it didn't even sound stupid when he said it. It almost sounded hot. Okay, that's not fair. Not hot. Just normal. And Sean's like, okay, I'm listening. And Kip is like, fuck both of you, okay? Kip is short for Christopher. It's not that weird. And then we get like a not great line. That's Sean saying it's short bus for Christopher. And he says, and please tell me you didn't use that name on your grad school applications. And he's like, oh my God, why are we talking about my dumb name? And Sean's like, he said it. It's just so funny. He's like, tells Kyle he wants another drink. He's watching the game. And Kip is like, oh, look, he's on the TV right now. And like points and like nudges over at Maria. And then Sean is like, not really paying attention. He's like, Sean, look right now. And Sean's like, oh my God, okay, fine. And we see that Scott scores a goal, and Sean's like, oh, okay, so he knows your name? And he's like, yeah, I mean, he's definitely not gay, but, and when he says that, Maria says, shut the fuck up. He literally blushed, Kip, at the same time as Sean says, then make him gay. Jesus Christ.
So good.
It's such good, like, gay friend banter.
Mm-hmm.
I really love how that one little conversation has just like a ton of exposition in it.
Yeah.
We learn every one of their names. We learn that Kip is working too hard, so he's not just working that one job. We learn that what his real name is, that he's trying to go to grad school, all about, like little bits about the way he is with his friendship group. I think that's like such good writing to tell us so many things in this short little time.
Mm-hmm.
It also really sets us up that this is like their home base, right? Like we're going to see them here. They feel at home here. This is their spot. This is where they go. And so it's nice to like get all of that. And it is like, it's like a 2-minute maybe scene. It's so quick.
Mm-hmm.
I also think one other thing, two little things I had to point about that is, I don't know if it's just me and trying to be so like not making assumptions about anybody and trying not to, but it kind of rubs me the wrong way that Kip's like, he's definitely not gay. Like it's almost like the opposite of assuming that a more flamboyant man is gay. It's like that a masculine athletic one couldn't be gay, and it kind of rubs me the wrong way, like that he says that.
I think it's a self-preservation thing for him.
I agree.
Oh, definitely, I totally agree, but I don't know, just something about it is like you can't assume that, just like you wouldn't want him to assume you were, So
yeah.
And I think it's like a fairy tale in his mind as well, where he's like, I cannot believe that the captain of this hockey team is into me. He's 100%. Like, everybody else can see it, but you can't. And I think that's the thing for like the first half of this episode. He's like, there's no way, this can't be real. And then when he allows himself to fall in, he falls in deep,
Yeah, definitely.
Okay, so we cut back to Strapless Barry, and Kip is reading a newspaper with Scott on the cover, and Maria's like back in her corner. And he says, he scored a hat trick last night. And she's like, are you asking me what that means? Or are you just telling me something I already know? And he's like, I just didn't realize that. And she's like, we literally watched the game, Kip. He was watching the game, but he wasn't like taking in everything that happened, He was watching Scott.
Mm-hmm. Did you guys get this assumption that this is supposed to be the next day after they were watching the game at the bar?
Yeah, I think so.
Is that
right?
the impression? Yeah, that's what I got too. But then when I read it, this time I paused it on the paper, and it's not from that game. So it's interesting. Yeah, it's from a game when they played against Washington, and the score is not at all what the score was during the other game. So it's interesting.
Interesting. I did not notice that detail.
I like to just say that it's probably just that they've been watching every game now.
Yeah.
So.
Well, he does say he basically turned the Kingfisher into a hockey bar. So I'm assuming that he is continuing to go back there to watch the games.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so Scott comes in. And he's like, nice to see you again, Kip. And he's like, nice to see you again, Scott, and holds up the newspaper. He's like, you're Scott Hunter, right? He's like, I am. And this is when we get Maria's, this is awesome. I'm like, she's us. She's the audience insert.
Her commentary, honestly. Let her commentate my life.
Yeah, truly. I need Una to organize my life and get me on track. And I want Maria to do the commentary. But then I also need Elena to set me down and give me check.
Yes.
I need it.
Absolutely.
So he's like, I mean, wow, you had a night last night. And Scott's like, Scott's like, oh, did you watch? And he's like, I did. Yeah, I usually don't. And then he's like, oh, but that sounds rude. I didn't mean it. And he's like, no, it's okay. And he's like, well, I watched the playoffs last year with my dad and it was amazing. He's a huge fan, but yeah, I watched last night. He's making it very clear to Scott that he watched because Scott came in and has been talking to him.
Yeah. Oh my God, yeah. This is like the little crumbs that lead to like the gold later on, like the way they just look at each other in this scene is just, it says everything.
Yeah.
I had a note about that too, like how they so consistent eye contact between the two of them. Like I, as Andi, can't handle that with like people I know well, like you and I get together and I'm like 2 seconds. That's all I can look at anybody in the eye. People have always thought I was lying to them all the time. Anyways, I was just so impressive that they like barely know each other, but yet they're locked in on each other. Yeah.
Yeah, my note here is the way I would absolutely not be able to handle this eye contact. It's really when he's like, so yeah, when something goes right with my game, I try to repeat it and then I try to perfect it. And he's like locked in as he's saying that. And he's like, so I'd love another smoothie. And Kip is like, would you like anything different? And he's like, nothing at all. And I'm like, oof, I am going to burst into flames. and
then I'm the one thinking, yeah, I think he wants a lot of things different. It's because he wants you.
Yeah.
Yes, like the smoothie is Kip in this moment,
Yes. Yeah.
So he hands it over to him. We just like get a cut to him giving him the smoothie. And he looks at the receipt and he's like, you cannot keep doing this. And he's like, I really can. See you next game day, I hope. And he like jogs out. And he turns to Maria and is like, dude. And she's like, girl.
Yeah.
She says, was that? And she said, yes, it fucking was.
Yeah.
So good. I
love
her.
That line.
So we come back to the bar. And I just want to point out that there's this like quick shot of Kyle cleaning the glasses to like let us know we're back at the bar. And on the TV behind him, there's like horses fighting or possibly playing. I'm not really sure.
What was that?
I was like, what are they watching?
Okay, but if that goes along with like if you pay attention to the decor of this bar, it's really kind of odd. Like they have like it's very unique. It has very like some Victorian style stuff, and then there's like some cat pictures. It kind of reminded me a little bit of that tattoo place, like a bar version of that tattoo place we went to in London. Like, yeah, it was just very, everything about it is just really funny. It looks warm though, like it would be cozy.
Yeah. I like the lights that they have up around the bar. And then we get Elena coming in and she's like, sorry, I'm late. And I love that we also get this dynamic that she is part of the group, that Kyle like knows her because he's like, no outside food or drink. And she's like, fuck off, Kyle, and goes and sits down. We like cut into them eating their takeout and Kip is ranting. You can tell that he's been ranting for a while about Scott. And he says, and I know the whole smoothie thing is dumb or whatever, but he just keeps saying my name and it's low-key making me crazy. And I'm like, again, bar low, but I get it. And she's like, not really. Like, she is listening, obviously, but she's like doing other things. She's scrolling on her phone. She's not like taking him seriously.
Right.
So she's like, changes the subject. Wait, you're still coming to that fundraiser though, right? Because I'm not looking for a date. And he's like, yes, I told you I'd come, and it's not until like 2 months. So could you please just listen to me? Which gives us two things. One, she's about to drop some like actual knowledge on him. And two, we know our timeline now of, okay, the fundraiser is 2 months-ish from now.
Right.
And she's like, Kyle, remote. And he brings the remote and he takes his takeout container. She's like, extra shrimp. He's like, thank you. Which, like, this is very, like, this is what it's like when you're a regular at a bar and you, like, make friends with the bartender or possibly have a friend who starts bartending and so your whole group starts hanging out there. It's very much this where they're like, oh, the rules. And then also, like, thank you for bringing me this. I'm going to absolutely enjoy it.
Right. I don't know what part of New York that bar is in because that bar, like, is pretty quiet. You know what I mean? I'm like...
Yeah.
Where are we? Are we out in Queens? Or like, what's going on?
Yeah, she puts on, and it's the game, and they're playing against San Francisco in that one. And it's interesting that Shane's commercial comes up during that.
Mm-hmm.
And this is where we get our first like fucked up timeline, because Shane recorded that commercial in 2016. And so this is supposed to be 2014. In this part of the story.
Interesting.
So I have a whole rant when we get to the end about how they could have fixed that, but I'll wait till we're at the end.
So no wonder I can't get their timeline straight.
Because they actually did mess it up in this.
Okay.
So, yeah. This is supposed to be 2016 when he films that commercial. I even checked this morning because I was like, I'm sure this is the wrong time. And so I went back and rewatched that little section just to make sure. So yeah.
It is cute though.
It is. It's adorable.
Yeah, he's got his like black and white half button shirt with like the lightning behind him. It's very good. And she's like, okay, now I'm fully listening. And he's like, what are you doing? And she said, just putting on the game. And he's like, Elena. And she's like, what? It's a sports bar. Let's watch sport. It's so good.
I love Elena.
So sassy. And he's like, am I being crazy? And she says, what does Maria think? And she says, I'm flirting with him too. And Elena's like, well, she is much smarter than you. I'm probably this idiot. And he's like, he's not an idiot. And at this point, she like looks up at the TV. And it's like they're talking about Scott. So you see him on the screen and she's like, Jesus. He's like, right? And she's like, okay, we got to make a plan. When's his next home game? And he's like, I don't know. And she's like, well, come on. If you don't know when his next home game is, how are you going to plan your shift? They play at home again on Saturday. Are you working? And I love when she asks him, are you working? He like jumps and like grabs his phone. He's like, I have to know.
I'm sorry, but if you have a crush on somebody, like, wouldn't you know all of that already? Or am I just that kind of nosy person?
I think he's still like, I think he's probably fighting it a lot right now. Like he's talking about it and he's thinking about it a lot, but he's still holding himself back.
He's flustered.
I don't think that he's like gotten that far yet to where he's got the schedule down.
And everybody else is that far. Like Kip just needs to catch up. You know, everyone's like, come on.
Yeah. He's in deep denial.
He's trying to protect himself, I'm sure.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
So he does. He fixes his schedule, and we cut back to Straw plus Barry on Saturday, and he's hanging out on his phone, and Scott enters. And Scott's like, I didn't know if you, well, it's nice to see you.
He looks ridiculously happy. He's like giddy happy about it.
Yeah. And Kip like looks down and blushes. And he says, Blue Moon over Brooklyn, please. Extra banana. I can't take these boys.
The name of that smoothie, dear God.
The extra banana is what gets me. So he tells him this one's on the house. And he's like, oh, come on. And he's like, no, it's above my pay grade. Like, management heard you came in. And then we get he keeps up the banter, right? He's like, you may not tip me. And yes, I'm using proper grammar to prove to you that I'm being serious. And Scott's like, okay, well, may I drink this here then? Because I have emails to answer. And I'm like, do you have emails to answer?
Yes, that's what I've got. Making excuses to stay underlined 3 times.
We get this shot. We see Kip is like looking at grad schools while they're like stealing glances at each other.
Meanwhile, there is nobody else in this place.
Dead silent.
Dead silent on a Saturday morning.
And he says, so you're not worried about breaking your routine? And Scott says, no, I'm not actually that obsessive. Gave yourself away there, buddy. So then he like walks it back. He's like, turns out I'm too lazy to be. I like to think that this is his like nervous rant. He's like, turns out I'm too lazy to be a serial killer. I took a quiz. I don't think I could even be a spree killer.
Yeah, this is nervous because what the fuck is this conversation? Like, do you know what I mean? But I like that it's what you said, Ash. He's like nervously spats something out and he's like, oh crap, now I've started talking about this. I kind of have to follow through so I don't seem weird because like, why else would I bring this up? And he's like, he's panicking as he's talking about it, you know? But the main thing we get from this is when he says about being obsessive, he is obsessive over Kit right now. So this is like him dancing around talking about that by kind of talking about this, you know?
And like he associates the word obsessive. It's like we hear him later. I think he says he likes them because they make him feel less obsessive. And so he's like, murders. That's what I'll talk about. Like, that's the first thing his brain, like, skips to.
Right.
And I do like this parallel of, like, him thinking that he's quote-unquote lazy, the way that Ilya has this, like, thing about being lazy. And my note just says, these poor, broken, hot men. I can fix them. So he's like, what's a spree killer? Which also, this was all new knowledge to me as well. And he's like, oh, someone who kills multiple people at the same time. And Kip is like, but isn't... And he's like, no, a serial killer is someone who kills multiple people, minimum of 3, but over a period of time, not all at once. And he's like, how do you know all of this?
He's like, what?
Yeah. This is what he says. I read a lot of murder books. Yeah, serial killers make me feel not obsessive, which is a relief. And I just wrote, we got to get these boys some therapists.
Yeah. It's also like the nature of falling in love as well, right? Like, you know, you are so obsessed with that person and your whole world, like, you know, is around that person right now. So like when he comes into that smoothie shop, that's his whole world, you know, and like everything else that's happening outside, like when he's in that smoothie shop, he's no longer a captain of the hockey team. He's just there with a guy who sees him as somebody, you know, he wants to be seen, like, you know, and like that's like, it's so interesting that when we get into these relationships with people and like often the outside world can drop away, you know, and it's like, oh my God, now I'm just here with this person. Everything else that's happening doesn't matter anymore. Right. I love that. I love like this show does this so many times. It's the obsessive nature of how we feel about somebody else and how that looks in action, you know, and I think that's what I love about this. For all that he's ordering a smoothie, he's ordering Kip, you know, like that's what he's coming to that shop for. And that's what's beautiful 100%. About this whole scene. That's what makes this scene special.
Yeah. And then we get this like joke about concussions that kind of goes over my head.
Yeah, me too.
Because he says, like, I've read some things about athletes. And he says, okay, before you say anything else, yes, I agree. And yes, there are at least 2 guys on my team that possibly off the record, yes, maybe. But no, not me, I swear. Barely had 2 concussions, and he holds up 3 fingers when he says it, which is, that's a funny joke. I get that. Yeah. But I don't understand how we got here.
Yeah. I didn't get it either.
Yeah, I was just like, flirty, move along.
Yeah. So then they start talking about, you know, right sock, left sock, no sex. And he's like, oh, yeah, but that's not CTE stuff. That's just science. And I'm like, why? How did we get to talking about CTEs? But anyway, I like the flirty banter of when he's like, I know you're more of an art guy, but it's not like I expect you to like just get science.
Yeah. Right. I like how he's like flirting with him while low-key insulting him at the same time. Yeah. Like it's
which
just
is
like
a form
evidence
of flirting.
Right, but it's like evidence to me of how nervous Scott is in this like he doesn't know how to do this because he's never done it before.
Right.
So it's like talking about serial killers and insulting the guy, talking about obsessions and stuff. It's like he's so nervous that he can't like even have a proper conversation about real life, you know?
And it mirrors like Ilya and Shane as well, where he's forever calling Shane boring, but it's like, but you're my boring guy.
Yeah. I thought it was really funny how Kip is like trying really subtly to sneak in there that hot lumberjack line.
Yes.
I think it's brilliant.
Same.
It was brilliant.
Same.
It is so funny though how like Scott's reaction to it. Like if you watch his face, like like, wait a minute, my flirting is working. Like
Yeah, I think it's brilliant. It's a funny, like, offhand comment that isn't like a come on to Scott specifically in that moment. Right. It's like just to feel out and see how he responds to it. Yeah. And he responds to it by being like, do you want to come watch us play? I would love for you to come to my game tonight. And he's like, I mean, if you want. And Kip says, yeah, I want. And all I hear is, you still want? I still want. I was like,
yeah. It's like a light bulb moment for me because I like looked at Scott's face in that moment, and when he looks like he almost like puts his eyes down and he's like, oh, and like even Kip's a bit like, oh, did I say something like wrong? But I think for me that's like ding ding ding, like in Scott's head where he's like, oh, this isn't just a little fun thing anymore. Like we're taking this somewhere, and then that's when straight away he's like, do you want to come to the game? Like, I love it. Like that face acting is genius in that moment.
Yeah.
Well, it's like because he's never done this before, so he has no idea what it would look like when somebody would respond to him, you know? And so, like in the book, you know, all he's done is like have hookups on vacation in Europe or something before this. So he's never like tried to actually get to like to have a relationship with somebody. So yeah, that look on his face is just, I love that subtle acting there. Like, okay, so this man is also into men, and I have successfully managed to recognize that and to flirt with him enough for him to want to have to do something with me, whatever that ends up being. It's just like that's a good way of saying it, Adam. Like it's a light bulb moment for him. Like, wow.
Yeah.
And also because it's somebody he's into. Do you know what I mean? So like he will have had women or like other men or whatever, like people would have thrown themselves at him. You know what I mean? He's the head of a hockey team. But when it's somebody that he's like, oh my God, I'm really this person, that interaction is so different, you know? And it is that, as you were saying, Andy, like the first time for him really was properly felt this and the scaredness of, oh my God, can I allow myself to enjoy this? Yeah. You come to that game, God damn it, and it's beautiful. That's the hesitation on his face because it's stepping into new territory for him.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm like, Scott has game. Like the eye contact before when he was telling him that he repeats and perfects things, paired with like the banter earlier in the scene and inviting him to the game. I'm like, work it, Scott.
Yeah, and now he's repeating and perfecting it by having Kip become part of it.
Yeah.
And just that I'm sure, the confirmation of that is just...
And the like nervous but confident look that he gives him when he says, I'm sure, is top notch.
Yeah.
And then we cut to the game. I love this scene.
Ilya, yes.
Elena is sitting with Kip and they're like eating popcorn and there's a lot of empty seats around them. I was like, nobody's at this game.
Oh, yeah.
She's like, these are better than my company seats. And he's like, well, yeah. They're his. And she says, you know, weird first date, but I think I'm into this. And he's like, what? And she says, well, you're with a girl and he's working. I'm like, Elena, you are perfect. I love you.
Yep. And
he's like, oh my God, shut up, Elena. Like, so good. And Scott like skates over and like nods and smiles. And she's like, oh, wow. And he's like, that wasn't to me. And she's like, he just nodded at you. And he says,
come on, Kip.
There's no proof of that. I'm like, these are the levels of denial that I also go to. I'm like, I relate. And he like comes back around and this time he waves and like lingers. And she's like, wave back for fuck's sake. And he's like, okay, and waves.
So good.
And so, yes, then we get cut to Boston 2 days later, and Ilya is absolutely fucking gloating. The team members are skating in. He's like, good job. I love you. I love you. Good job. I love you. I'm like, I love Ilya Rozanov. I love him so much.
There's a perfect little cameo in there.
Right.
And he's like, hey, Hunter, too bad you can't play at home every night, right? It's better for you, huh? And he's like, go fuck yourself, Rozanov. And he's like, it's more fun if you're there, which is
perfect
so funny.
line. Perfect line.
And they both walk off, and I'm like, this is what Ilya is so good at. Like, even he's always been good at this. Even when he had like the really intense language barrier at the beginning, like boy could talk shit. Like,
oh yeah,
this is where he thrives.
That's the cheeky chappy. Yeah.
And then literally the next day he plays Montreal and Shane comes up, baby's first chirp, and is like, hope next time we play, you decide to show up. And Scott's like, cheap. And Shane's like, true. And then you see Scott like he's like, oh, I'm about to tear your ass up, boy. And he's like, you're starting to sound like him. And I just have a note where Scott's like, these two fucking homos, I cannot escape them. They're so mean to me and they're so obvious. And I work so hard to cover my shit up. And these two are running around making hard eyes at each other and heavily denying any suggestion that they might know each other. And he's like, I'm tired of it.
in my notes, I kind of have similar to what I said before. It's like, you know, when you're having a conversation with someone without being direct, but you are speaking to each other. This is like, I see you. This is like gay language, right? Like, I see you. I know about you because I'm right there with you, but we can't admit it right now. Like the layers is brilliant.
Definitely.
Well, and the fact that like Okay, so I had to do a little bit of research to get to this. So in the background, you hear the announcers are saying, has Shane or has Hollander or Shane ever fought anybody? So like, this is his first fight, like, which takes place. So according to when this happens, it actually happens right after the tuna melt is when this is supposed to have happened, which is another thing about why it's in the wrong part of the timeline.
Interesting.
Because in the show's timeline, it's right after they've had sex.
Right. If you look at the schedule of when they actually play against each other, that's how it would be. Because if you include the fact that the commercial showed up to tell us where Shane is in his storyline, this is happening after the tuna melt. Like, so both of them are on edge, and Shane is really on edge about this whole thing. And yeah, I think it was just hitting way too close to home to him to be compared to Ilya again, you know?
Yeah, because he's like, at that point, he's starting his like denial process all over again and starting to explore Rose. But if it's so like looking over my timeline that I did for just this episode, trying to figure it out, it's about 2 months before the Olympics, which means it's right after they've slept together at Shane's apartment. And so he's like, in that context, he's also in deeper than ever.
Right.
So this is...
in both contexts, whichever is supposed to be correct, I guess, would be, because, the show just messed up the timelines there. But either way, he's in a mind space about this that he doesn't know how to be, a headspace that he's really struggling with.
Yeah. And I love that you can very clearly read Hudson's lips during the scene where he's yelling at him. He's like, "You fucking pussy, go home. You're 45 years old." It cracks me up. Because he's like, what, canonically he's like 29?
He's older than them,
yeah.
But like 29 being like, "You're 45 years old." It's so funny to me.
I have to wonder if that's a little more of the, because Francois is actually
is 40,
40. So.
Right.
For sure.
Yeah.
So we see that like Kip and his dad have been watching this on the TV.
And that's a really cool shot too. Like the way they did that, like they went from us like watching it live to then all of a sudden we're watching it on the TV. Like that was a cool transition, I thought.
Oh, Kip's dad. Like,
I love his dad so much.
Oh my God, that is positive masculinity right there. That's pure dad vibes in the best way. Oh my God, every time he's on screen. Now, like, I'm going to jump ahead for a second, but like when Kip walks in, he starts to break down. He's like, "My boy, my son."
Yeah.
Oh my God, heartstrings pulled, ripped out. Like that actor is so good for such a small role.
Yeah. He's so good.
Beautiful. I think he's like my favorite character in this whole episode.
Oh wow.
He's just like, I want to be him as a dad, as a parent, that has that kind of relationship with their kids that supports them. And like, I love how like when he says "love you," then Kid's dad's like, "love you back." It's just always, I don't know, he's just so supportive. But also I love just talking about him. Like he doesn't coddle him either. He's not like, okay, he's not like, "You can live here, I won't." Not just like letting him trounce along. He's still encouraging him to keep working, and he's proud of him for working hard, and that he's not, being lazy, to use that word again, but like that, just like all around, he's a good dad. He's encouraging him, but he's also not like babying him, but he's just there for him, and they have a kind of relationship that I think every parent wants to have with their kid, or at least I hope every parent wants to have with their kid.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Definitely the kind of parent I want to be. So
yeah, and I love like that he mutes it, and Kip is like frantically trying to unmute. He's like, It's so good. And we also learn a little bit more about their dynamic. Like his dad is very involved. He knows what's going on in his life, and he's like, "Have a good day off." And he's like, no, it's not a day off. It's a catering gig. And he's like, yeah, I just mean like you get to sleep in for once. I'm just happy for you. Like I admire your hustle. And he's like, "And you're going to get that scholarship. Don't jinx me." And it's just like, it's very cute and wholesome. It's like a very I love this scene and the next scene of the two of them. It's just, it feels very homey. How, like, you know, like you feel like you're safe in these scenes, which is
And
nice.
that's a really good point to bring as well, Ash, because later on when, you know, Kip is saying to Scott, like, I can't keep lying to my dad, like, I haven't been home. And it makes sense as to why although he's fully in Scott's world at that point, but why he wouldn't want to escape his own reality, because he's got it good at home. He's got a supportive parent. It's not something he needs to run away from, you know?
Right.
So it makes sense in that moment with his dad would be worried. His dad loves him. He should be going back to see his dad. He shouldn't be lying to his dad, you know? So it's absolutely that.
He has that kind of relationship with his dad where they just talk about their lives. Like, we see that like in that phone conversation later where he's just talking to his dad about one of his dad's coworkers. Like they have that kind. And so it's no wonder that he would feel like he's hiding something so much bigger. Whereas like a lot of people's relationships with their parents by that age are quite separate, you know, like they don't know about their in and out day-to-day lives, but this father and son have a in and out every, you know, kind of ins and outs of everyday kind of relationships. So that actor Robbie is just, he's more jacked up than the hockey players in this. His thighs are like,
oh my God.
He's a rugby player.
He's a rugby player.
Yeah, he's jacked. He could make them smoothies with his thighs, let alone a blender. Like, let's be real.
I saw a video of Jacob at it was clearly like a queer bar thing where they were like interviewing him, and he was like, the last one to take his shirt off was Kip, with the actor that plays Kip, and he was like, and I remember somebody else that was like on the crew, maybe it was the assistant director or something, had been like complaining about like, maybe I need to go to the gym, like all these guys are making me need to, and then he took his shirt off and he was like, seriously, like this guy too, the nerd, the guy that was hired to be the nerd, like and he's like, yeah, and then Jacob was like, and I see everybody talking about how like there's no reason for this art nerd who's a barista to be ripped, and he was like, have you ever met a gay man in New York?
Thank you.
I was like, that's fair.
Hello. Yep.
So good. But yeah, I love how like we hear him from off screen. He's like, motherfucker. So you know that he's panicking, and his dad like runs in. He's like, what's wrong? What's happening to you? I love that line as well. When he says, I can't find my suit and I have to leave so soon. And his dad is like, okay, well, it's in my closet with the dry cleaning. So why are you freaking out? He's like, thank you. Which
is like exactly what it's like to be a parent of children. And I am not happy about the fact that continues until they're adults. Because it's literally like that. Kids are like, I don't know where something is, and the parent knows right where it is immediately, or I can't find it, and it's like right in front of them. So it's so funny. But then when his dad, like the way he like shakes his head, like when he's like, yes, buddy, and he's like, yes, I love. It's so valid for how it feels to be a parent. Like you're on it's like a roller coaster that's just flying past you, and you're like, okay, now I'm relaxed. Now this is like zoning in again. It's so funny.
The tornado of Kip is calming down and leaving. Now I can relax.
Yeah.
And I love that he checks in too. He's like, are you okay? Like, what is going on? Are you okay? Yeah. And he's like, yes, I'm fine. Like, I just need this money and I can't fuck it up. And his dad says, but you're not going to fuck it up because you're amazing and it's going to be great. And I'm like, I just love him. And the yeah, buddy line, I love the way that he delivers it. Like, yes, buddy. Like, it's so good. I just love him so much.
Yeah.
So we cut to a kitchen at this place, and Sean is prepping food, and Kip comes around the corner, and Sean hands him a tray, and Kip takes it and walks out the door and immediately walks into Scott and bumps the tray over. Also, did either of you watch Ginny and Georgia? This woman is from Ginny and Georgia, so as soon as I saw her, I was like, oh, Cynthia!
She's a bitch in that show, too.
Yes, she is. Yes, she is. She plays cunt really well.
Yeah.
This is the mirrored line of when we first hear Kip running around that morning, and he says, motherfucker, and then he runs into Scott and he says, motherfucker! I'm like, well, back to square one here.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And she's like, for God's sake, New York used to have professional waiters, and now it's all just models who can't carry trays. And I'm like, which is a funny line.
Right.
There's probably a lot of like models and actors who are doing the catering jobs there, so that makes sense.
Happens.
Mm-hmm.
I hate the way she says, "Oh, bunny," at the end. I'm like, no, we don't like that. And Scott's just like, the whole time, he's like, it's okay, it's fine, everything's fine.
Leave my future boyfriend alone.
Yeah.
I've got another tux. Don't worry.
Yeah.
So Kip is like cleaning up, and Sean comes around the corner, and he's like, babe, I don't know what the fuck that was. But Kip starts panicking. I know, I'm a complete fuck up, I'm sorry. And this is where I think that Sean is like a good friend. He's like, you're not a fuck up. And he's like, this isn't rocket science or whatever you're into. And I love how like Kip can't not correct him. He's like, art. And then he's like, please don't fire me. And I'm like, Kip really needs to chill out.
I think it's just really good evidence to show, like, setting up more of his anxiety that he has in his own life. Like, he's just worried about all these things. So it's a good setup for why it's so hard for him to keep a secret later.
Yeah.
You know, to show us all these, how much anxiety he has about everything else already. And then put this other big thing on top of him. And it becomes too much for him.
And we've seen his dad and their dynamics. He's putting all of this pressure on himself. It's another like important thing to remember as well.
Plus, this is the first time that they're meeting outside of the comfort of like the shake shop, you know? So so Kip in his mind is like, this all needs to be perfect. And then the second he gets in there, everything's fucking up. Like he bumps straight into him. He knocks it on the ground. This woman's patronizing him. He runs back and he's like, oh my God, I'm going to get fired. It's like he's spiraling. And like it's Sean's just like, babe, you're not going to get fired. Relax. Just carry. I love the line where he's like, "These are dry. Carry the quiche out." You know, it's so good. But yeah, I think in Kip's mind, he's put, as you said, Ash, he's putting that pressure on himself. It's like, no, oh my God, we're not in like the place that I work, where I know where everything works, how this dynamic works. We're in somewhere completely different. It needs to work. You know, so he's putting it all on his own shoulders.
Yeah. And we see him up at the bar, and he's ordering wine to take to someone for sure. And he looks out and locks eyes with Scott, who winks at him. And I'm like, sir, I hate to break it to you, but you are not subtle either. None of these boys are subtle. Literally anyone could have seen that. And so we see Scott, we get this shot of him like alone in the corner on his phone, and he sees Kip walk up, and he's like, hey. And Kip's like, I'm so sorry about earlier. And he says, no, that woman was horrible. I'm the one who should apologize. And he says, I was standing right in front of the kitchen door like an idiot. And Kip says, no, I'm the idiot. You're just a normal hungry person at a fundraiser. That woman did seem horrible. And Scott says, full disclosure, I hate this food. And Kip is like, yeah, well, full disclosure, I hate serving it. And this is when we get one of my favorite memes that came from the show. When he says, do you like Mexican food? And Kip says, yeah, of course, I'm not a serial killer. As someone whose favorite food is Mexican food, I'm like, I love this.
And I love the callback to him, like, you know, bringing it back to the flirty way that, like, the flirty awkwardness. Like, I saw what you were doing there.
Plus making light of that really weird conversation that they've had with serial killers.
Like,
you know,
that was a weird conversation, but I knew what you were doing with it.
He's like ribbing him about it a little too. So he's like, do you have the time to grab a bite with me when this thing is over? And Kip is like, tonight? And he's like, yeah. And he's like, with you? And he's like, well, yeah. And he's like, okay. And then he starts saying like, oh, there's this great place around the corner and it's open late. And he says, you don't mind waiting until I'm done? And he says, not even a little. And I'm like, oh. So we cut out back, and Scott is hanging out like in the alleyway there, pacing, and he's still in his tux, which is different because in the book he like goes home and changes real quick and comes back.
No, he goes and buys. I just read this part. He goes and buys stuff at a bodega, so he's like wearing like New Yorker touristy clothes.
Like I heard New York. That's right. Yeah.
Oh, that's interesting.
It's like his way. He like doesn't want to make Kip feel uncomfortable that he's still all dressed up when he, you know.
Kip says hi, and Scott says hi. And then my note says, okay, Nick and Charlie.
Yeah.
I do love this, the Scott pacing outside though, waiting for him. Like it's that nervous waiting, which I really liked. Of like he's like standing still, then he leans against the wall. It's like very cute.
Yeah. We see them like walk over to the restaurant, and they are like, "Whoa, that's a long line." And I'm like, "There's like 4 people out there, but okay."
Yeah.
But there are people who would see Scott too, like because as soon as he sees it, he turns to face Kip instead of facing the restaurant anymore. Like, and he kind of keeps like turning his head like away from the restaurant, like he's trying to make sure he's not the one seen there. You know, I thought it was actually cool that it actually was a Mexican restaurant back there too, because a lot of times in the show, because of they didn't actually film in New York, so like. A lot of times they have blurred a lot of the background so that you only focus on them. You don't really notice. But that one actually was. It's like a Mexican taqueria place behind them, which was that was kind of cool.
So they go back and forth. Kip tries to like give him an out. He's like, we actually don't even have to do this. And Scott's not having it. He's like, how would you feel about ordering in? And Kip is like, okay. And so we cut to entering Scott's apartment. And I love this scene too. I love that Kip is like slowly walking in. He's taking it all in, right? He does like a loop around to the window, and like before he's even like turned to take in the kitchen or anything, you know, he turns around and Scott has his shirt off already.
Listen, he is not wasting time, and I'm here for it. It's like when he says, like, can I give you the whole tour? Or, and he's like, or, I pick or.
Yeah. You want the full tour now? Or, my note says, or, I pick or. I'm not a serial killer.
I had to wonder if, does Scott hire a designer also? That was a very well decorated apartment for
beautiful.
That does not really look like Scott, like at least the way we know of Scott. So I was like, except for all of the pictures, I did notice there's like a lot of pictures on the wall and you can't even see what they are. But I have to like, except for one that you can see, it looks like it's like him as a teenager or as a kid playing hockey. But I have to just imagine that it's like all of his family, like he's keeping pictures of his family,
his
you know,
parents.
To see.
Kip also says like that he's very organized, and I feel like this like the way that his apartment is set up also reflects his like obsessiveness, and like everything is in its perfect spot.
And it's clean. Everything is very like
pristine.
Very pristine.
So we cut to the bedroom. And they're making out, and this is another like little parallel that I have written down, whereas Scott is kind of like a softer Ilya here with the way that he's like holding Kip's jaw, and like it's not really a dominance thing like it is with Ilya and Shane, but I just noticed how much he like touches his face and how he's constantly grabbing his jaw and stuff.
Right. Plus the blue lighting is stunning.
Yeah.
Oh my God. But I also love the amount of times he says like, I'm into you. I was like, bitch, are we singing Paramore right now? Like, is this what... waiting for that chorus? I should be over all the butterfly. Like, I was like, just sing it, because that's what we're doing right now.
Yeah, it's so good.
And like the parallels here of the Consent Kings. So like again, when he like goes to unbutton Kip's like trousers, and then like Kip like kind of like grabs the side of the bed, and he's like, and he like looks up at him straight away, and is like, is this okay? And he's like, oh yeah. And like, it's just beautifully done as well. Like just when he's like, yeah. But it's like, it's just so well done.
It is. And I like the move of like Scott at the beginning of the scene, he like lays him down on the bed, but then he like sits up and then he jerks him back up by his shirt. I was like, ooh, that was a hot move.
Get him, Daddy.
And he like slowly unbuttons it and lays him back down. And then that's when they have the like, I can't believe you're into me. And he's like, I am so into you. So into you. I can't stop thinking about you. And then, I have in all caps, more consent.
I like how this one has a little bit of a different parallel. It's like the contrast between what it is with Shane and Ilya. There's still a lot of consent, which is the important part, but there's like no declaration of feelings for them. But with Shane and Ilya, but with these two, there's that declaration of affection or whatever before they do anything. So, and I just like showing like that both can exist, and that this is the way they fall in love, and for other people it could be that this is the other way. This other way is how they fall in love.
Yeah. And I also like the difference in sex that we see too. Like everybody has sex different. And so like we see Shane and Ilya sex and how different it is from Scott and Kip's sex. And it's like two very different situations.
Yeah.
I will say though, like he smiles down at him and then he like unbuttons his pants and starts to go down on him, but it's not like as realistic looking as the Shane and Ilya scenes. And I'm like, probably just because Connor and Hudson like went all in 110% every time, you know, and not everybody's going to be comfortable with that, you know? And so like, no shade to these two, but it's not as, it doesn't feel as explicit to me as their scenes.
Yeah, true. Yeah.
Even though we see like just as much skin.
I think that maybe it's also supposed to show it more from that little bit more, that it's a little bit more on the tender side, because it's a lot more similar, although I think it's still more intense with Shane and Ilya later on when there's actual feelings there too. But like the focus then on that in those scenes too with them is also then on the feelings that they have, and like the tenderness of it. And so I think this one is more like showing it as the tenderness part of that, as part of why it's, I think, like that a little bit more too.
That's fair.
Somebody I saw said that the blue lighting is because of the blue of the
blue moon over Brooklyn.
The blue moon over Brooklyn.
I did think that. And then here comes the banana, you know, like.
Extra banana.
Two bananas in this one.
Hell
yeah. So we get this shot then of obviously after Kip is like quietly getting dressed and Scott wakes up and he's like, "What are you doing?" And he says, "Oh, I didn't want to wake you. And I thought since you have your game tomorrow, you know," so like now he is the schedule down. He's got it. And Scott sits up and like reaches out to him, and Kip goes over and like sits down next to him and he says, "Can you stay?" And he's like, "Yeah." And he's like, "Okay, then please stay." And they kiss and like Scott pulls him back into bed. And at this point is when I was like, if Scott were a dog, he'd be a border collie, because he has strong work ethic, but the separation anxiety is like fucking prominent.
That's so funny.
But also, to be fair, like his parents died when he was 12, which is another Ilya parallel. And it's like, obviously that created some abandonment issues, understandably so, I can't imagine. And he's been alone his whole life, so he's so lonely, and he deserves to go after this. So like at the same, like on one end, I'm like, whoa, buddy, let's slow down. And on the other side, I'm like, yeah, go get your man.
Well, and I think he also really wants to make it clear in this that it wasn't just a hookup to him.
Yes.
Like the point is that he wants more than just the sex. Like, and so that's why he asks him to stay. But I like that he gives him the chance to say no, because maybe Kip isn't in that same spot as him, as wanting to stay. I really appreciate, even though it's like hurtling at 1,000, miles an hour to get to how quickly they become this. Like, I appreciate that he's constantly still saying what he thinks, but giving Kip the chance to say, no, that's not quite what I want. And I think that is a really good way of why Kip feels like he can finally say that when he needs to say that, because Scott's given him that chance the whole time.
For sure.
Beautifully put. Yeah.
And it's not this scene that makes me say slow down. It's in a couple of scenes, but like, this is just where I stopped to make that note. Because this is super cute.
Yeah.
So we get this cut to the morning, and Scott wakes up in bed alone, and you see him kind of be like, fuck. But then we hear the blender go off. And he's like, oh, he's here. So he walks into the kitchen, and Kip is like, oh, did I wake you? And this is when he starts to nervous. I'm like, okay, I meant to surprise you. I was going to go out and get stuff, but then I looked in your fridge, and you basically had all the ingredients. And I know I shouldn't be snooping around, but I really didn't have to do that much snooping. You are very organized. And I thought, since I'm not working today, but you still have your game that you'd probably still want. And this whole time, Scott is just like, I think I'm in love with this man. And like is slowly like walking over.
Yeah. he's never been looked after like that before, you know? That's what I love about it. Yeah, so he's like, oh my God, this guy like is so into me and wants to look after me like this. It's so sweet, absolutely that.
Yes, so sweet. I also think it's funny how startled Kip is that he woke him up, and I'm like, of course you woke him up. Fucking blender.
The blender.
The loudest thing you could run in beside like a blender or a coffee grinder. Those are the two things that are for sure to wake somebody up in the morning.
He's like vacuuming, like, sorry, did I wake you? Like,
yeah, literally, like he's getting under the bed. He's like, oh, I'm so sorry. So Scott picks him up and is like walking him back towards the bedroom, and he says, can I fuck you? And Kip says, absolutely.
So hot. So hot.
It's so hot. The pickups are a thing.
Yeah.
That does something to me.
For sure.
Mm-hmm.
Especially in this one, because like obviously like Kip is like bigger than him. I mean, he's shorter, but he probably weighs more. Mm-hmm. So you can like see like the effort it takes him to do that, and it's just I think it makes it almost like makes it mean more that he like it's hard to do, but he still does it because
because he's on a fucking mission.
Mm-hmm.
So we cut back to them after drinking their smoothies, which still look like juice. And he's like, so I should probably go. And Scott's like, what if you didn't? And Kip's like, go? And he's like, mm-hmm. And he says, like, ever? Fuck, that serial killer talk was you warning me, wasn't it? Which is like so funny. Mm. And yes, if it was me, I also would have probably not seen him alone, because like, who brings up a serial killer? Like
exactly.
And Scott looks both embarrassed and stressed, but he like gets his glass and he pushes it forward. And this is again another great like gif or meme when he's like, I'm going to say a bunch of things, okay?
Mm-hmm.
Adam's going to do a dramatic reading of
I was asked to do this, but I'm fully in. Yeah. I'm going to say a bunch of things, okay? And I know I'm too intense. Everyone tells me that, but I can't help it. Is that okay? Can I be too intense? Yes, I never do this. Never brought anyone back here, like, ever. Yeah, my life is complicated. And I can't come out, like, not right now. Too many people depend on me for too much, and it would fuck everything up. And so I just thought I would, I don't know, wait, I guess. Yeah, wait until hockey was over. And then maybe I could fade away for a little bit, or you. It's just, I want you so bad. So bad. And I know that you barely know me, so why would you even consider something like this? Probably fucked up. Like, I know I'm fucked up. I get it. I'm not pretending I'm not. But I really, really like you. And I want you to stay. So I'm asking for what I want. I want you to be here when I get back from practice later. And I want you to be here when I come home from my game tonight. I want you more than I've wanted anything in a long time. Is that too much? You can say if it is. Do say something, though.
Fuck, this is heartbreaking. Like, he just looks so scared and, like, so ready for rejection after he says, like, please do say something. And Kip, like, starts to walk over. The look on his face. Ugh.
The vulnerability.
Yeah. And he's, like, holding his breath. You know, he's like, and Kip says, I think I'd love to be here when you got back. And he like lets all that breath out. And he says, and I don't think you're too lazy to be a serial killer. Yeah, you're definitely not lazy. And I'm like, both Ilya and Scott have found the men that see them and appreciate all that they do. And they don't see that they're lazy because they're not lazy. This is just internalized issues around their own worth. And they finally found the person that they need to like get that redirection in their brains working.
I really love how in that conversation too that Kip just like waits and lets Scott say everything he needs to say before he replies. I'm really bad at that. Like I struggle really. It's something I've had to work to teach myself to the extent even that I'm capable of it now, to let other people finish their thoughts before I jump in with my own. And I just love that he does that. He doesn't say anything, just lets him kind of say everything he needs to say. I also wondered if there's some symbolism to the fact that these two men, they both have a lot of facial hair that they both keep, and the other two are quite clean shaven all of the time, even though like we know that Connor can grow it, but like, and I just wonder if there's like a little bit of element of like of symbolism to that these two are a little bit older, a little bit wiser, they've lived a little bit more of their life, they're more mature, so they're having these kind of conversations, whereas the, you know, sort of baby ones are just sort of like, I don't know. It was just something I thought about when I was seeing them in this scene, particularly just how much more mature they are in this. And it could just be a stupid thing where I'm looking for something that's not actually there. But
no, yeah, I have well, with the hair, I mean, I think it is just to show that they're older, but I do have a note that it's like, it's really refreshing and nice to see them communicate in this way after 2 episodes of Shane and Ilya's bullshit because that gets like, it's building and building of they're not communicating, and then we get to these two who are just like open and honest from the beginning,
right?
And so that's really nice and refreshing to see. So then we get this like what I have deemed the skip montage of just them like falling in love, basically. Scott comes home and Kip is on the couch reading, and he jumps on top of him immediately, and I'm like, it's the glasses. Listen, people with glasses are just sexier, okay?
Screaming from the rooftop, guys.
And we get a shot of Kip like pacing around the living room, and he's watching the game, and he's on the phone with his dad, and we get this exposition of like, yeah, he's clearly not been home in a while, but he has been still applying to all of the grad schools. He's lying to his dad, saying that he's staying with Elena, and his dad doesn't really like believe him because he asks multiple times where he's at. And he's also like getting a little bit of the distraction there too, where he's like talking with his dad, and then he's like, fuck yes, and he's like, oh no, I'm watching the game. So like even when he is spending time with his dad, he's like not fully there because he's distracted. We get this sex scene of them rolling around on the bed, and I'm like, okay, Francois also has a good ass.
I got the butts underlined.
And we get this scene of him going into the bar, and Sean is like, where has she even been? And Kip says, oh, please, I saw you 3 days ago. And Sean says, single since forever, overworked like she has 2 wicked stepsisters. Then she gets a man and vanishes. What a cliche. Denial City over here. I don't have a man. Sean tells Kyle to keep the boyfriend on the TV at all times. And he's like, oh my God, he's a customer. He's not my boyfriend. And Maria yells, liar! At the same time that Sean goes, boo! He's like, I don't have a fucking boyfriend. Cut to fucking boyfriend time. They are
loud, like the only loud part of their sex time too is right after that part.
Yeah,
which I think is a good choice of the way in which they put those 2 scenes right next to each other like that.
Then we go to Straw Plus Berry, and Scott walks in, and Maria's at the counter, and he says, oh, and he like hesitates. He's like, hi there. And then Kip clears his throat from behind her, and she like presents Scott to him, which is so funny. And he says, morning, Kip, the usual, please. And Kip turns to make it, and Maria says, extra banana, and winks. I'm like, God, she really is the like audience insert.
She's a bit.
And her, as well as all of the actors in this, are really bringing all the hot mole representation to life. As somebody who has several of them, I appreciate it.
Yeah,
because a lot of times they hide them.
That's true. Oh, so then we get this like little flirty scene between the two of them where he's like, Scott's like, I don't know what I'm going to do without these on my road trip. And Kip is like, I'm pretty sure they have smoothies in other cities. And he says, not like these, they don't. And he turns around and Maria's like, wow, you guys basically fucked on the counter just now. Like, do you think that this is a secret? And he's like, what's a secret? And she looks at him, and this is my note. I said, she looks at him like he's a bigger liar than Ilya when he says 9 inches. And he's like, nothing is happening. He's just flirting with me or whatever. He's straight, I think. And she's like, girl.
You're a terrible liar.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, then we go to Scott's apartment, and Scott's like walking around the kitchen, and Kip is on the couch on his laptop, and Kip says, oh, there's pasta salad in the fridge, chicken, no feta. And he says, oh yeah, where from? And he says, from me, I made it. And that like melts Scott, and I'm like, he's not used to it. He's not used to anyone making him stuff, and it's just like so sweet how much it means to him that Kip cares. And he walks over and he's like, you did? And Kip is like, I'm not just a pretty face. He says, oh, but you're a very pretty face. And he looks down at the laptop and sees that Kip is looking at an art show. And he tells him that, it's like an artist that he loves and he has a new show out. And he says, oh, cool, I should buy some art. And Kip like giggles and looks at him and he's like, what? Hey, I'm not just a pretty face either. And he says, no, you're also a very, very hot body, which is a really good line.
Yeah.
And he like slams the laptop shut and hops on him to kiss him.
It's cute.
It's very cute.
I
like all the domesticity of that scene.
Yeah. They're like fully domestic at this point. Like, I've made lunch, it's in there, and then they're hanging out on the couch talking about artwork. Like, it's super domestic.
Which is like the first thing then that lets this next scene happen is Scott's like, okay, maybe we could take some part of this outside of this bubble of this bedroom, this house.
Yeah. But boy, do you know it's immediately bad. Because the way that he enters that art show.
Oh my God. Stepping back into the closet.
Yes. He's got on like a hoodie and a hat and sunglasses, and the door shuts and he like jumps. But Kip is really good. He like gives him an out. You can tell he's been telling him the whole time, like, we don't have to do this. Like, and he's just like so gentle and understanding with him. And it's really beautiful to see. And it's like another mirror of Shane and Ilya. Like, it takes them a lot longer to get there, but eventually they do handle each other's, anxieties and things in like a way that no one else can with the two of them.
Right.
What's interesting, I think, is how well disguised Scott is in this circumstance. I mean, yeah, he's only wearing a hoodie and a hat and glasses, but like, when he plays hockey, he's wearing a helmet most of the time. And so like only in his, sponsorship things and other stuff really would his face be so well known. So you'd have to be somebody who was into hockey to see him, to notice. Like, I was thinking about that if I walked by, I'd walk by every single professional hockey player right now and I wouldn't know any of them, right? Because I'm not in that world. So unless you were in that world, you probably wouldn't get recognized. And this is probably a setting where he's highly unlikely to get recognized, like in a fancy art place. And there's so few people there. So I just think it's a really good way then of showing how high his anxiety is about this. Like, that the chances of recognition are really low, but yet his anxiety is so high. I just think that does a really good job of portraying his anxiety without telling us. It just shows us how afraid he is.
There's definitely a lot of metaphor then, like the way that we are seen and the way that we allow ourselves to be seen. Like in this scene compared to, as you said, Andy, like when he is on like, the ice rink, like, yes, he does have his surname printed on his back, but they get to see Scott, the hockey player. That's what they get to see. They see Scott, the captain of the team. They don't see the real Scott. The real Scott is only what Scott and Kip know right now. So like him walking into that art gallery, as you said, his anxiety is riddled because he has no control over how people see him right now. So when like, you know, the person that works in that shop, the lady says, "Oh, are you guys buying something?" And like, that's his moment of, I cannot fucking do this because I have no control over how this woman is seeing me right now. I'm here with this guy who I love to bits. I cannot have her see me like this, you know, because she's going to see the real me and I'm not ready for that. So it's a really good point actually about like the way that, you know, as queer people, especially when we're younger and before we've come out, we try to control that narrative as much as we can. In this moment, he cannot do that, you know, so that's why he freaks out. Because as queer people, we've kind of been there one way or another, you know?
Where even if somebody isn't perceiving that part of us, we're afraid that they are, because it's like, it's the top thing in our minds that we're hiding all the time. So like, I mean, to anybody else, they could have just been friends, right? Like guys have friends, girls and guys are friends, whether no matter what spectrum you or where you are on any of the, you know, in the alphabet. So like, it shows how much he is perceived, like that's the thing that's on his mind, so much so that he can't tolerate it being seen, because he's just thinking, well, this is what the top thing on my mind is. That's the top thing on her mind too.
And like also their body language is very not coupley. Like they're like 5 feet apart. Like Scott's got his hands in his pockets. Like he's not looking at him a whole bunch. Like they're doing a really good job of not looking like a couple, and yet that's his anxiety is screaming like they know that we're in love.
So like in the book, they go to the museum and they're like out all day at the Met together, and eventually people recognize him and like pictures get taken of them, and Kip sees the pictures because somebody sends them to him or something, that, and to Kip's mind, it's really obvious that Scott is looking at him like, you know, he's in love with him. And so it creates, it's a bigger, this first going out alone together is a lot bigger in the book because they are noticed and pictures get taken of them. And I wouldn't be surprised if some of that comes into like flashbacks of some sort, maybe, or something in the next season of a lot of their story that doesn't get told.
Yeah, because there's a big jump that we don't see. Right,
exactly. So it jumps a lot, and there's a lot that happens that's also really beautiful and would help make a lot of sense to that 3-year time gap that the show shows that the books don't. It was interesting to see it in such a small scale, but a really good way of showing how overwhelming this is to Scott. And I can imagine, because I was so closeted, like my family, my kids say that I was so closeted. I might as well have been in Narnia, because like, I didn't even know that I was in that closet so deep. But that everything I did was trying to hide that, you know, so much so that I got myself married and had 4 kids in a straight relationship, you know, to hide all of that. So like, I can totally relate to this feeling of, I can't let somebody see that part of me, you know, when I'm out and about with the person that I have those feelings for.
Yeah.
And the terror of that being discovered would be, kept me in the closet for like 20 years. So, yeah.
But Kip is so patient with him, because when they're looking at like the big piece and he says like, this would look great in the living room, not on the fireplace wall, but on the way to the bedroom, and like some people walk by and Scott shushes him, and I'm like, okay. If this was me, I would be like, excuse me, you didn't have to come here. I gave you multiple outs. What we're not going to do is be a complete dick to me about it. So do not shush me ever, but especially in public. Get out. Let's go home. Like, not that I don't understand where he's coming from, because I get it. I do, for all the reasons we've just said. But I'm just saying, me personally I would have been very activated by that. And I put, good thing I'm not trying to date Scott Hunter, because it wouldn't have worked. But they're like, you know, not everybody can mesh with other people's trauma in this way. Like, we all have trauma, and not everyone is going to be able to click. And I believe that Kip is able to like nurture him in a way that he needs to be nurtured.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that Scott helps remind Kip to like live his actual life and stop taking everyone and all the little things for granted. They're like actively making each other better people, which is how it should be.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, he gets the fuck out of there as soon as that woman acknowledges that they are there. He tucks and runs.
Mm-hmm.
And we see him, like, he comes into his apartment and he's like breathing heavy, like throws his hat down, and Kip comes in behind him and Scott immediately starts apologizing. I'm really sorry. I thought I could do that. I really thought I could. I wanted to. And Kip says it's okay. And he says, it's not. I know it's not. And this is where I had that line of like, it's really refreshing to see him say like, I know it's not okay. And I'm sorry, after the way that we've been watching Shane and Ilya communicate. But Kip hugs him and just like holds him for a bit. And it's so sad.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I want to hug him too after this. Just to make him feel better, because I can imagine he has like an adrenaline rush running through him of, he's shaky, and it's just like, it kind of goes back to what you said, Adam, so well, like he was in what kind of ways he wants to be perceived and what he's willing to let people see of himself.
Mm-hmm.
And even if nobody thought that when he was out, he comes home feeling like that's what happened. Like he let somebody see something about him that he didn't want them to see yet.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And that's just terrifying, to feel like you let somebody see something about you, that somebody that you know, let alone strangers, in the big world.
Yeah.
And like the fact that he apologizes is important. And like Kip has been so understanding, like Jesus Christ. But in a lesser show or a lesser written character, or in things we've seen before, Scott would have been like, why the fuck did you take me to that? And like blaming, putting the blame on Kip.
Oh, and then we get this little scene that I have so many notes about, where we see Kip like putting his applications in the mail, and he looks up and he's at this like little novelty section of the outside of a bodega. And I paused it so that I could look at all the things. I'm like, okay, I see a rainbow pinwheel. There are like some hats that I think have the same like New York Apple logo on it that the gray hoodie does. And there's some I Love New York t-shirts. The sunglasses are 2 for $1. And then we see socks. And it says 3 pair for $8. And I'm just saying he could have got him 3 pair of the banana socks, so that he wouldn't have to like rewear them dirty or worry about washing them so much on his road trip. But whatever. 1 pair is fine, I guess.
He's being frugal.
Yes.
But yeah, he works too hard for his money to get 3 pairs of the same socks. He works too hard for his money
to buy him 3 pairs of the same socks.
But the big takeaway that I have from this scene is that on the window to the bodega, there is a movie poster for a movie called Under Dark, which is a horrible FBI movie starring Rose Landry where she gets kidnapped again.
That's hilarious. I missed that one. That's awesome.
Like when you see the first shot, and I paused it, he's in the frame and he's like cutting that section off. And then like the third time I watched it, when he moved, I said, "Oh, what's that poster over there?" And I paused it and I was like, oh my God, it is Rose Landry's movie that she talks about in the next episode. So
good catch.
And then we cut back to Scott's bedroom and he's packing. And he's like complaining about the road trips and how brutal they are and saying that he thinks he's cursed. And Kip is like old lady cursed, which is so funny. I'm like, ladies of any age can curse people. Thank you. And so he says like, I know it's dumb, but I'm not the only one who's superstitious. Would you be jealous if I got my smoothies from some other guy? And he says, maybe. Probably. And then he makes his dad joke of, what if I filled you in on all the juicy details? Like how he blended them.
He's like, shut up.
Yeah.
I know. I just sort of like cringing that whole part. I'm like, oh my God.
Oh, it's funny. I love a dad joke. It would have charmed me. And he says, or what if you kind of always had one with you? And Scott's like, what do you mean? And he says, okay, I know it's dumb, but I saw them at a bodega and I thought they looked like your smoothie. And again, he's not used to getting gifts and stuff like this. And it's just like so sweet how much he's like smiling and like it clearly means so much to him.
Mm-hmm.
And like, yeah, it's cheesy, but I love some cheesiness in my shows sometimes.
This is the good stuff.
It reminded me of the Tao and Elle, like really cheesy gifts they give each other at the beach. Like it shows you know each other without having to spend a lot of money on each other, you know?
Yes, I was just going to say, this is the good stuff. Like, this is the relationship stuff. This is the kind of stuff that I was initially feeling like I was lacking a bit from the first 2 episodes because it was so like passion and intense, and these guys loved, like, really like liked each other, and it was just sexy and hot. And this is the good relationship stuff when you're like, I bought you this dumb little gift. You know, it's like, it's stupid, but it's a gift. And like Scott like immediately loves it because he's like, no, I love this because you got me something that is so personal to you and I. Nobody else gets this little joke. This is just me and you and a pair of socks. This is the good stuff. And that's why I love this. I like, you know, obviously it comes back later on. We'll talk about the metaphor of what that means. But, you know, even just later on when you see him take the photograph of him with the sock on and he sends it to him, that exists because of this scene. It's the little things in relationships, like the little eccentricities that are only special between you and that other person. This is what he's wanted his whole life, and he's got it, you know, and I love this scene.
There's something so special about, like, I saw this and I thought of you.
Yes.
Like, you know? Also, I would argue that Maria would get the joke, but she's the silent third of this relationship. And Scott's like, I love them. And Kip is like, yeah. And he says, I love them so much. And I'm like, I love you so much. Please marry me is basically what he says with that kiss. And I love the switch of Kip saying, can I fuck you? And Scott saying, absolutely. It's the exact opposite of the earlier. Also confirming that they're switches.
Like, hello.
So yeah, we get that quick scene of the locker room shot where Scott's getting dressed and he like pulls his sock on and snaps a photo. And then we cut straight to the bar with the game on. Kyle is like slowly eating his takeout. So that means Elena's here somewhere. And then we get Kip reacting to the game. He's like, fuck yes. And we see, or we hear the announcer say, that's 2 tonight. Can we say it out loud? Is the curse broken? Hunter hasn't scored twice in an away game since last season. The socks! It's the socks!
Yeah, because before that, that's the whole thing about what what Ilya says about, it's too bad you can't play at home every game, right? Because they keep losing every time they are away from home.
Right.
Yeah. And then the TV just cuts off and Kyle looks up and is like, what? And Kip looks over at Elena and Elena is not sorry that she turned the TV off. And he's like, what? And she's like, say it out loud. She just like clocks him so fast, just like a bestie. And he's like, say what? And she looks at him again, like, be so for real right now. And he's like, okay, it's not. And she's like, what? And he doesn't say anything. So then she says, okay, so here's what I know. And he's like, Elena. And she's like, shut up. You're in love with him. And he says, I'm not in love with him. And she's like, you are. And he like kind of deflates a little. And she's like, have you at least told your dad? And he like sighs and looks over. And she's like, for how long now? And he says, a little over 2 months. And I'm like, okay, 2 months till the fundraiser. We've closed this circle. And she says, oh, baby. And he says, Elena, hey, you can't tell. If anyone finds out that, and she's like, what, that it's Scott? And she's like, obviously I'm not going to tell anyone but Kip. And he is just like scrambling, right? Like that was a scramble. Then this is a scramble when he says, he can't come out right now. Okay. Like he really wants to. It's amazing. He's amazing. I've never been happier, honestly. And I'm like, that sounds convincing. I don't know. There 2 things can exist at one time, right? You can be happier than ever in a relationship and still be unhappy with the situation.
This is so many queer people, so many queer narratives talk about putting other people's feelings before their own to protect them. Scott's doing that why he can't come out because he's putting the rest of the team before his own feelings, right? Kip is doing this right now. Kip is putting Scott's feelings above his own. And therefore he's like, no, you can't tell anyone. Everything's fine. Everything's good. I'm good, like, weak, smiley face.
Mhm.
And,
Yeah.
Elena can see through the bullshit because she knows him better than anyone, So
Yeah.
I love this parallel that they're kind of both putting other people's feelings before themselves. And that's something that we do as queer people all the time.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of like really subtle face acting, I feel like, on Robbie's part in this part too. Like, he's subtly like checking around to make sure nobody else is paying attention to what she's saying, and like his face kind of falls a little bit, like when he says like, it's amazing, but there's another part of it that's not at the same time, and like they're just really good at the subtleness. And I don't know, like as a person outside, as an outside person, it makes me wonder how, and I think this would be the case in any relationship, not just a queer relationship, but like, is it ever really like, I don't know. I struggle with whether it's a good thing for her to push him on this, or if she should have just been like, hey, this is what I see, but I'm here for you, and let it go. But she just like keeps going on it. And I don't know. I feel like I would probably get a little resistant and be like, hey, back off. Let me deal with this in my own time,
This is such an interesting conversation that you brought this up, because a lot of people, the discourse online has been one way or the other. A lot of people have said what you've just said there, Andy, which is like, hey, I know it's her best friend, but this has got nothing to do with her. But then the other people have said, actually, as a best friend, she's doing the right thing by saying, I know where this road leads to. I know what the result of this is. But the idea behind what she's doing and why she's saying it is because she loves Kit to death.
Yeah.
Of course. Yeah.
This was something that they asked on the Slayerfest 98 episode that I was on. Like, how do you feel about it? Because there is like kind of a polarizing read of it online. And I do feel like I don't feel like she's pressuring him to like come out about their relationship. She's just saying, hey, I can tell you're miserable. You've been neglecting us, your friends, your family. I think when she asks about his dad, that's like her trying to say like, have you also been neglecting him the same way that you have been neglecting us? Like, does he even know about this?
Yeah.
She's trying to get a feel for like, is it just the friend group that he's hiding it from, or is it everyone? And like, I think she's just sometimes, especially in situations like this where you are so caught up in the emotion of like wanting to protect this person that you're forgetting like to take care of yourself, that you have to have someone step in and say, hey, I can see what's going on and you probably can't, but like, here's what's happening and I need you to like open your eyes.
Preach.
Well, and I think we all have different relationships with people differently. So like, if this had come from a more casual friend, that would have been over the line and unacceptable.
Yeah.
But like you said, Adam, like in the best friend, the kind of relationship where it's like, okay, you're kind of blind to what's going on right now. Like you've got that sort of rose-colored glasses on about what's really happening, and I need to help protect you, So, I mean, I personally also like that she said it. I wanted to bring up that discourse because I've heard it, and I've heard it about every single one of the women conversations in this show. And I find it just really interesting. I think it probably just depends on each situation. It's always going to be slightly different. And maybe people's own past experiences might also affect how they would feel about this. Like if they'd been confronted by a friend about something that really they did need to leave alone for whatever reason or another, that it just couldn't be talked about, then they're going to react with it feeling like obstinate to her, that she would do this. Whereas if you're somebody who's been confronted with something like you need it, I mean, I need that. I need my friends sometimes to say like, hey, I see you doing this thing and it's hurting you, and you might not realize it's hurting you, but it is. And sometimes we need to have somebody who can tell us that. And so if we've had good experiences with it, we're going to probably feel more positive about her doing this than,
Agreed.
Than the opposite.
For sure.
She did go through Kip first, so it's not like she went to Scott and be like, what the fuck are you doing? Like, she went to the source, she went to her friend first and then goes to the source, So I think she's done it in a way which is respectful to her friend and also to her, his new guy.
And she also says, oh, he better be real. Like, she's telling him, like, and I plan on having a discussion with him.
And that's what needs to happen.
Yeah.
he doesn't like put any resistance up to that either. And so she knows like, okay, then yes.
The only part I didn't like about what she said is where she says like, I don't know if you've read this part out loud yet, but in my notes, so I can't remember exactly the line, but something about how like it infers that she wishes he was sleeping with a married guy instead of a closeted one. And I was a little bit like, really? Like, that would be better? Because I personally, that would not be better.
Well,
in my, at least for my morality, that wouldn't be better.
Okay, I think, but I think in the context of what she's saying, because she says like, "What does your dad think?" And he says that I'm fucking some married guy probably, and she says, "Kind of wish you were," because fucking someone and being in love with someone are two different things, and fucking a married man is a safer emotional choice for him than at this point than being in the closet with a hockey player that can't come out and being full on in love. And so I think that's what she was saying there was like there would be less danger in that situation.
Maybe, like less emotional trauma or something put to it. But I don't know. I just thought that was a kind of a funny. It was a funny line. Like I thought, you probably could have just passed over that somehow without, to not bring that up. I don't know. It was just a little weird one for me.
I loved the like little couple of lines of levity where she's like, "I can't wait to see you in a tux tomorrow." And he's like, "I'm going to be super well behaved for you." And she says, "I only care that you're handsome." And he's like, "You bitch." So good.
Well, in the book too, that we know that they have been best friends like since high school. Like they've been friends for a long time. And also, I don't know if this will end up happening in the show eventually, but like in the book, she's getting ready, like, I think if it might even be in this conversation or at the party, but she tells him she's been transferred. She's leaving. She's moving to LA. So sort of like I kind of, when I read it again and after watching this, I thought, I wonder if part of her being a little more, taking this effort to being more involved, like not backing off on it, when he kind of resisted initially, was like, she's trying to make sure he's okay before she leaves him.
That's a really important detail.
She's not going to be there, anymore.
Or to like pick up the pieces if it goes wrong.
Yeah, because she's not there physically, She's going to be a phone call away, but it's different from when you're there with your bestie in person. That's a really interesting detail with the books and the series, because that changes the dynamic really in an interesting way. That's cool to know. I didn't know that.
Yeah, I think she had just, when they had this similar conversation in the book, she was just going to LA for her interview, and then she tells him at the party, I think it's in that same vicinity of time period.
So we get this quick shot of Kip closing up the smoothie shop, and he gets his text from Scott, and it's the photo that says "my good luck charm" of his socks, and then he gets another one that says, "Can't wait to see you tomorrow. There's a little surprise in my closet for you," with like the melty face emoji, and Kip does not reply, which is something I found interesting. And when we go to Scott's living room in the next scene, he's looking at the text and he still hasn't replied. And so it's like Elena really kind of like shook him back into reality and opened his eyes to everything. And then this phone call with his dad just kind of like drives home her point. Also, he's wearing Scott's red hoodie in this scene, and Scott's on a road trip. So I'm like, he probably feels closer to him if he can like wear his clothes while he's gone. It's
Who hasn't done that,
Yeah.
But I want to ask about what you guys thought about when Kip looks at the suit in the closet. Because like he's not happy to see that suit. He looks at it and like he's not like, "Oh my God, my man bought me this suit." Like obviously there's the whole metaphor of he's keeping him in the closet, but also like he looks at that and he's like, "Oh damn." For me, it's like the reality of the situation was my friend was right. Like what do you guys think in that moment?
I think he looks really conflicted, and again, I think I can just imagine all of the conflicting emotions, right? Because like, he's only just had this conversation with her probably like the day before, because she says it's tonight. I don't know if this is supposed to be the same night and he's like about to get ready to go, or anyway, it's like within the last like day or so, they've had this conversation. And so I think also being back in Scott's apartment alone without Scott there and it is also probably bringing up a lot of emotions of like, oh, so this is my life now. I am in this apartment with him. I'm in this apartment without him. And also I think that there's like probably a little bit of a dynamic of he's like, quote unquote, providing for me when I'm so independent on my own.
Right.
And like, because he's always fighting back on the tips at the smoothie shop, and now he's got him a fucking suit.
Right.
So it's like
there's a lot of that in the book too.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Interesting.
I think he's kind of walking a line between feeling really cared for with it, like that it means a lot to him, but also it's like these are the things he can give me, but the things I really want is to go to the art show with my boyfriend, you know, like there's a lot of that in the book too, that he's like, I get all these things from him when we're together, but then I'm living in this apartment, you know, like it's like he talks about him feeling like he's put himself back in the closet to be dating a guy who's in the closet, you know, and that his whole, their only existence together is in this one room, you know, in this one building. And he's very independent, like wants to earn everything that is his own. He doesn't want it. Like there's a point where Scott tries to pay off his entire student loan debt. And Kip's like, you know, freaks out, like very validly, you know, they've been together for 2 months and he wants to pay off his $50,000 of student loan or whatever. So there's a lot of that. And I think he's also kind of feeling really down about the fact that in that conversation with his dad, he realized like how much he misses his dad, because that's right before, and they like he hasn't seen his dad much, doesn't really know what's going on with him, and
his dad misses him.
And he hasn't heard back about school yet, and so he's getting nervous about these applications that he sent back, you know, sent in, and so I think he's just kind of like looks at it feeling like this is how my life is going to be if I stay with this person, you know?
Right.
And I think anybody could be, it's particular in the queer community for in a queer relationship, but like anybody could be feeling this, like I fit into this part of this person's life, but not in the other part of this person, in the other part of this person's life. And that's not a feeling anybody wants. Like if you really love that person, you want them to include you in all of their life, you know?
Right. Yeah, absolutely. And I think as well, like, I think the big word that you were both in towards is sacrifice. You know, like Kip is sacrificing his dad. He's sacrificing his friends. He's sacrificing his independence. He's got a scholarship that's hanging over him. That's his thing. And that's been all, you know, compromised and sacrificed because he is living inside of Scott's world. And I think in looking at that suit, he's like, oh my God, like this has been provided to me by Scott. I am like putting on the mold of like being back in the closet on Scott's terms, and it's just eating me up. Like, how much autonomy do I have in this relationship when I am just living in somebody else's world? And I think it's all of that confliction is rolling around in his head, and he plays it beautifully. The actor Robbie plays it beautifully.
We also have the element of like, he's just gifted me this beautiful suit that I'm going to go show off and can't tell anyone. Like, my man got me this suit.
Right,
you know, like,
right.
So like, here's this like physical representation of us. Sort of that like I can't even really show to the world. And
the note like says for my man, but he's not claiming him as his man in any other in any other room except for that one.
And he can't write the same thing, you know.
But I mean, if I was him, I also would be chugging all of the champagne like he is doing at this fundraiser with Elena. I love it. She's like, stop it. And he's like, stop what? And like takes another chug. She's like, you need to chill out. And he chugs the rest of the glass.
It's parallel to how he is at that other event where he's the waiter instead, but he's just as nervous at both. So it's like, he doesn't feel comfortable in that world, you know?
Right.
No matter which side of it he's on, whether he's the server or participating, it's like, this is not who he is.
Yeah, and he's been brought there as Elena's date, so like, it's still not his world in this situation either.
Yeah.
So I love when he chugs the glass and she says, my God. This is so good. And he's like, can I have some of yours? And she's like, yes, like take it.
Poor boy is so nervous.
I know, he's so nervous. Well, also, like, he knows that Elena's gonna say something to Scott, so, like, and now he has to, like, tell Scott that she knows, so, like, there's a whole...
Yeah.
I would also be chugging. I would be chugging. Bring me the bottle, sir.
It's the two worlds coming together, right? That's what he's so nervous about,
Yeah.
Yeah.
We get this scene of Scott and Vaughn, and they're talking to, like, some random man named Tom. Vaughn is saying, like, I like our playoff chances this year. We might even get a home ice advantage. And the man does the, like, typical thing of, like, oh, well, if this guy keeps playing the way he has been, then maybe. So what, like, changed? Did you meet, like, a nice girl or something? And I'm like, thank you, Carter Vaughn, for being like, oh, no, I think we just found our groove as a team. Like, has no idea that he's saving him from, like, an awkward response.
Right.
But still. So Scott, like, tries to dip out. He's like, I spotted an old friend. And the guy can understandably tell that he has struck a chord with him. And so he's like, oh, I'm just ribbing you, Scott. And he's like, you know, your parents would have been so proud of you. Your mom especially. She would have just been thrilled. And I'm like, Vonnie, he's instantly so tense and concerned. Like, he cares about Scott so much, buddy. But also, like, don't be that person.
Read the room. Read the room.
Yeah. He's like, thanks, and goes to leave. And Vaughn follows him, and he's like, hey, are you okay? And he says, yeah, I should be used to it. And this always makes me think, I promise, I'm used to people saying stuff about me. Nobody shouldn't have to be, because in my head, I was like, you shouldn't have to be used to it. Just another little heart stopper thing I had to bring up.
Listen, what podcast are we on?
Exactly. Adam, in the first episode, I was like, these two shows are nothing alike, except for all the ways that I'm going to tell you that they're alike.
Oh my God, so true.
These two characters are much more aligned with the Heartstopper characters, I would say.
It's true. It's true.
Than Shane and Ilya are.
Yeah. So he walks off and leaves Carter Vaughn looking pretty concerned, but that's the last we see of him at this event, so not concerned enough to trail after him. Scott approaches Kip and Elena, and he's like, Kip, right? Okay. You can just say you know him at this point. But there's silence, and Elena says, Christopher, when he's all dressed up. I'm Elena. And he's like, nice to meet you, Elena. I'm Scott. And then he says, you look beautiful. You both do. And then there's like an awkward pause, and he's like, sorry. And then dead silence again. And Elena's like, yeah, we both clean up pretty well. And Kip like smiles at her. And I'm like, at this point, I'm like, okay, I think I'm Kip. Like, of all the characters, I'm Kip. The deep denial, the going nonverbal, it's all relatable content for me. And she's like, okay, if I go get more drinks, do you promise to start talking, Christopher? And he's like, yes, of course, yes. So she goes off to get them more drinks.
Well, you know, this is like the first time that anybody else who knows about them has been around them at the same time.
Yeah.
So it's like legitimately like Kip's freaking out. He doesn't know how to act.
Right. And he knows that
after she dressed him down about it, you know?
Scott doesn't know she knows. And so there's like a lot to go into this dynamic here.
Yep.
And so then they start talking about, you know, are you looking forward to the evening, or are you enjoying the evening? And he's like, I'm looking forward to the after party, honestly. And then he's like, the tux fits perfectly. And he's like, thank you. I mean, you didn't have to. And he says, I wanted to. And then he can tell that like something's off. And so he's like, are you okay? And Kip just breaks. He's like, Elena knows. I'm so sorry. And he's like, yeah, I could kind of tell that she knew. And then he's like, but it's okay. She's discreet, right? And he's like, totally. I kind of figured it, or she kind of figured it out. And I guess I had to tell someone. And he's like, it's okay, really. And I'm like, he was so anxious. And like, I would have been too, even though she like bullied him into admitting it. He's like really worried about having outed him and how he might have like how Scott might react to that, because like given the way that he has been acting about it, I think he handled this surprisingly well. I was expecting more of a freak out, but he just like takes it in stride, which I like wasn't expecting. Which, I mean, I guess because she is Kip's best friend,
Yes.
he's probably talked about her a lot. He probably has an idea of Elena in his head already, which probably helps. But still, there was just like not quite enough panic for what I would have expected from him, which is like good, but
I agree. It's not like some random woman at like an art sale. This is like, as I say, Kip's best friend. So there's that level of trust to a degree that he has in Kip, but it's trust on his terms still right now, you know?
Yeah.
So, yeah, but I agree. I was kind of like, oh, he is low-key pretty chill, considering a couple of scenes ago he was in a disguise and freaking the fuck out. So he's, you know, he has definitely mellowed out. Maybe there was a lot in those glasses that we don't know about. I just mellowed him the hell out.
Yeah. How much has he had to drink?
Right.
We don't know how long he's been there either.
Right, exactly.
And then Kip is like, this is so weird. Like, our worlds mixing is weird. And he's like, yeah, we should leave early as soon as I do my speech. But Elena walks up just in time and is like, not before you dance with me. And so they have like a cute little back and forth and then go dance. I love that it starts with an immediate dip. I'm like, yeah, okay.
Got skills.
Yeah. And she jumps right in. She's like, so what are your intentions with my Kip? And she's like, no, I'm serious. He's crazy about you. And he's like, I'm crazy about him too. And she's like, but he's also miserable. Are you miserable too? And this was like the bubble burst moment for him. It took her calling both of them out individually for them to see what they were actually doing, because it's like so hard to see the bigger picture when you're wrapped up in that apartment living your dream.
Yeah.
You don't see what's going on. And she says, nobody wants to be kept a secret. And Scott like tries to deny it. He's like, he's not. And she's like, he is. And he looks over at Kip and she's like, eyes on me, handsome. Like,
I love that
you're
line.
not giving him a signal to come save you.
Yeah.
We're having this discussion.
Oh, it's that line though. Like no one wants to be kept a secret. Just sums the whole thing up, you know. And like I just wrote in my notes, like she's basically saying like, this is great for you, and like you are great, but like remember, like he deserves his happiness, but also you deserve to be part of his world, you know. And I love that line so much because it says all of that. But also, eyes on me, handsome is brilliant.
Yeah, so good. And he's like, I'm doing my best. I love him. I just can't do better right now. I've been honest. And she says, I know. And he's so in love with you that he'll put up with it. But it's killing him. And I'm not saying any of this to be mean. I'm really not. And you seem great. But he's great too. He deserves the best. He deserves sunshine. And so do you. And this whole speech and dancing is like spliced in with Scott leaving out front with the cameras flashing, getting in his car, and then driving around to the back alley to have Kip come out the back door and get in his car as quickly as possible. Here's another reason why I like this. I think that this is like such a mature and careful speech that she gives that isn't like a lot of the best friend threats we see a lot, which are just like empty threats of like, hurt him and I'll murder you. Like no one's actually going to go murder someone because they broke your friend's heart. Like that's, you know, and so it's not like this empty threat. It has like logic and emotion combined with like directness and clear communication.
Yes.
There's she's not there to threaten him. She's just telling him the truth for both of their goods, not just for Kip's good, for both of them.
Yeah, it's a great speech because she's laying the law down, but she's just laying the truth down. That's the reality of it. She's just telling him. Well,
she's careful about it too. I think like she chooses her words carefully. Like she doesn't just, like you said, she doesn't attack him. She's not doing any of it to tell him what could happen. Just telling him what is, like similar to how she did, you know, with Kip, where she kind of forced him to confront the fact that he loved him, but that he was not happy having to keep it a secret. And now she's like letting Scott know, because he obviously doesn't recognize that Kip's unhappy, because the way they're telling it in here, Kip is hiding it from him. You know, he has no idea. So,
Yep. She's just spitting facts and letting him sit with it, basically. To see, you know, you make your own choice, but this is what's going on.
Well, it's cooking.
And so after we see them get in the car and drive away, we cut back to Scott's kitchen. He's pouring them a drink. And Kip says, it's my birthday on Sunday. And that also makes me think of Heartstopper and the surprise to no one of, it's kind of my birthday on Saturday. And he says, I know, I already got the caterer lined up, surf and turf, because we are not choosing. And Kip is like, he's determined at this point. Like, nothing that Scott is saying, honestly, for like the rest of this rant he goes on is like, he's just eyes down on his drink, like saying what he needs to say to get it out. He says, you know, the Kingfisher, the bar I told you about where I watch all of your games? And Scott's like, and he like looks down, like he knows what's coming. Like, Elena again opened his eyes, but now it's unraveling faster than I think he was anticipating. So like, he hasn't quite processed everything yet, but he's like, oh, we're doing this now. Kip says, a couple of my friends are throwing me just like a little party there. It's not even really a party. It's just like hanging out or whatever. And he's like, it's a gay bar, but it's not a club. It's just a bar. It's honestly more of a hockey bar now thanks to me. And at that point is when Scott tries to like stop him. He's like, Kip. But Kip doubles down and like starts like saying everything he needs to say just a little bit faster. He's like, I was thinking that you could come just as my friend, as somebody who buys smoothies for me. I mean, Maria knows and Sean knows. And Scott looks up like, what do you mean they know?
What do you mean they know?
Yeah. And he says, they know that you buy smoothies from me. And he's like, I can't do that. I wish I could. I want to tell everyone. I want people to know that you're mine, that I love you. And then Kip says, I love you too. And I'm like, is this the first time that they're saying it?
So I'm like, wait a second.
This guts me that it was done this way, like that like it's as part of almost like a break, sort of like their breakup, you know? Like, I don't know. I do like it better in the book. There's actually a lot of this show I do like a lot of it better than the book, actually, which is really rare for me. But this is one thing, because in the book they say they love each other and it's not part of a breakup. It's a happy time, and they get to still enjoy that.
It also feels a bit like a bargaining chip, like, but remember, I love you, so we should keep this secret, you know? And it's like, it's the wrong way for it to come out.
Like, please don't do this. And he says, soon, maybe in a few years. And that's when Kip is like, and he like slides the glass back over, and Scott starts to panic. He's like, I know how it sounds. Like, it'll go by quickly, I promise. And then we can be normal like other people. My heart.
Yes, this part just guts me, because it's like, in a way, I want to be like, Scott, how blind have you been by this love that it's like, no, I get it. It's new and it's all consuming and you've never got to have this before, but like, how blind have you been to what your boy is going through? Because like, this few months has been too much for Kip, and you're asking him to just do this for years, you know? And he kind of acts like it's a shock to him. Like, he was shocked when Elena said it, and now he's like still even further shocked that Kip is admitting it. I don't know. He's
been doing it for his whole life. So what's a couple years, you know?
That's true.
But for someone like Kip, who has been out and has a whole life where he is out, years is so long. But when you're 29 and you've literally never come out of the closet, like, what's a couple of years in that context? You know?
Plus, it's just a slap in the face a little bit when he says the line, when we can be like normal people, because then what does that mean? You know, like, that's invalidating Kip in that moment, you know, who is living a life outside of this bubble, and he's been out for the longest time, you know? So it's just a huge slap in the face of like, and Scott hasn't lived a normal life. He's the captain of a hockey team. So like, what does that mean? You know? So like, in that way, he's kind of just saying, we will continue this, right? We will look like normal people. And it is a slap in the face. And again, Robbie plays it really well. As you said, Ash, when he slides that glass along, and like the way he's looking at him the whole time, it's like, I can't, you know?
Yeah.
Well, and I think it's like Scott is asking Kip to play the role that he's been playing, like you said, Ash, for his whole life. He leaves to go to work. To play his games. He travels for his games. He like travels in the summer, I suppose. And otherwise most of his life is spent in his own apartment by himself. Like, that's, so like, to him, it's like, I guess, you know, it's not really that, he doesn't really see how that's such a big deal, I guess, maybe, you know, because that's the life he has had. You don't really see anything outside of hockey for him.
Yeah, well, he said, like, in his speech that we'll get to in a second, you know, he became an orphan, like, overnight and got this scholarship and started doing hockey, and that became his whole life, you know, like, and he played, you know, from the time he was a kid all the way into his adult life and has made a career out of it. Like that is his life. His life is hockey. His family is hockey. You know, his friends are hockey. Everything's hockey. So it's got to be jarring to like meet someone that you want to bring into your world that has a whole world outside of you that is like foreign to you.
Right. And yet you secretly wanted all this time.
Right. So Kip he says, I heard what you said in your speech tonight, and I know they're your family and that you feel responsible for them, and I get that. I really, really get that. But I have a family too, and I keep lying to them, and I don't want to. And I miss them. I miss my dad. And he looks like Scott looks like he's going to cry. And Kip says, sorry, that's not what I meant. And he's like, it's okay. I know it's not what you meant. And I was like, okay, honestly, as somebody that's in the Dead Parent Club, I feel like the tearing up is probably at the thought of like keeping Kip away from his father.
Yeah.
Rather than the like, yeah, well, I miss my father too, and I can't even call him.
Yeah.
And that's like what I feel like people think we're thinking when situations like this happen. And it's not ever like, I've never thought that. But I feel like people think I'm thinking that, you know, like, you know, so maybe it's me projecting onto this, but that's kind of like what I read in this situation.
I think you're right, especially when he says, I know what you meant. You know, like he knows where he's coming from, confirming that. Right. I think you're right, yeah. And
Kip says, okay, I'm going to go home tonight. I need to. And he gets up and he leaves, and Scott stays frozen at the counter in sadness and fear. And I'm like, okay, bub, hop in the pocket. It's going to be okay. You've got like another 2 or 3 years, but it's going to be okay.
You could like hear the echo of the door close when he leaves. I felt like that was really intentional, and it was really like, that made it feel really gut wrenching as, you know, like as soon, very final feeling, you know, like then when we see him wandering through the city. But I have to say, as sad as it is, I am proud of Kip for standing up for himself, for not being like, I love you so much, but so I'm going to go ahead and put myself back in the closet for you. I am curious to see what they will do in the further, you know, like to explain the 3 years time gap between, you know, from the end of this, because I think he chose himself, which I think is really hard to do when you love somebody else. But I think sometimes it's the choice you have to live with more than, you know, like if you choose somebody else besides yourself, you're often sacrificing a big part of you to do that. And while sacrifice is important in relationships, there's an element of it that is just, it goes too far. And so I was proud of him for saying like, this is the line I can't cross.
And there's been an interesting dynamic because, like, you know, as we said in this relationship, it's very much been dominated by Scott and his world. So as you said, this is the first time when, you know, Kip's actually stood up and said, hello, I also have a world here as well that I'm neglecting because I am also valid in this relationship. Like my world is valid, my people are valid, you know, and as you kind of alluded to that, Andi, like, you know, sacrifice is a big thing in relationships, but Scott fell for Kip because of who he was, you know, because of his world, because of him as a person. And if he keeps diminishing himself and sacrificing more of himself, he becomes less of the person that he was into initially, you know, that he found so beautiful. And unfortunately, that happens in relationships so often. So, of course, relationships are about compromise and sacrifice to a degree, but also to the point where you're losing yourself. You got into that because you like that person, you know, and it's like, it's beautiful to see Kip stand up and take that moment and be like, hello, I've got a father, I've got friends, I've got a scholarship, I've got my world. These should also be important to you.
Okay, so I'm going to read some of his speech, which we see like spliced with Kip like walking back home and being sad. And then we see like Elena and Kip watching Scott give this speech at the event. So I'm going to skip the beginning where he talks about everything, his parents got hit by a drunk driver when he was 12 years old. We do find out that they were hockey coaches, so that explains kind of like where this is rooted. And he says, I didn't have anybody else to help me. I had a lot of memories, a love of hockey, and a huge hole in my heart. St. Thomas filled it with hope, the hope of a new family. Things weren't always easy. You know, they never are for anybody. But in hockey, I found what I was missing. First at my high school, then later at college, and now here with the Admirals. And I never looked back because I never had to. The family I craved, the family that I needed, that I still need today, hockey gave it to me. And St. Thomas gave me hockey. So from the bottom of my heart, I want to thank you all for being here tonight and for supporting this cause, because it's not just a scholarship. It's everything that comes with it. It's a whole world. It's a whole life. It's everything. Oof. So again, just like really driving home the fact that he is like so deeply rooted in this world that even though he's in love with Kip, it's hard to break out of this like bubble that he's in, this hockey bubble.
Yeah.
And Kip is listening to this going, this is everything to him and I don't fit in this world.
Yes.
So how and where do I fit into this world if this world is your everything and I can't be in it?
Right. Yeah.
My heart.
And the way it's like spliced together is so well done, because it's like keeps going between everything that he wants in his life with Kip, but everything that he'll have to give up if he goes with Kip. So it's like he has to give up in his mind, he'll have to give up everything that mattered to him, everything that was his life, in order to be with the love of his life. And so it's like, it just, the way it's paralleled showing that, I just think is really beautiful.
Plus, this is the drama before episode 5, you know, so that's why the moment in episode 5 hits so well, because this is, in that moment, Scott has gone, fuck it. Like, there are some things that are worth so much more than what I've been holding on to, you know, and they finally breaks out, which is what makes that moment so special.
Yeah, definitely. So we see Kip walk into his dad's house. Dad is so excited that he's home. He's like, oh, hey, buddy, the prodigal son has returned home. Look, I got some mail for you here. It's pretty heavy. And then he looks over and sees that Kip is like falling apart. And he's like, oh, hey, my boy, come here. Whoa, hey, and like hugs him. And Kip, I know, and Kip apologizes. And he's like, for what? You have nothing to be sorry for, silly. Hey, like, okay. And he's like, I have everything to be sorry for, you know? And it's so touching, and it's so nice to see non-toxic, like, dad-son relationships.
Right.
And it doesn't even have to, in this circumstance, because we see it later, you know, with Shane and his mom, but like, their relationship, that it has nothing to do with whether his son is gay or not. Like that part's not even brought up in the whether they have a good relationship or not. And I kind of like that, like that it's just who he is, and it's not the focus of their life. Right.
Yeah.
Like,
we never see them talk about it, but we do get the line where he's like, he probably thinks I'm fucking some married man. So we know that his dad knows he's gay, that he's out.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. But we don't ever see it like from a Kip and
any
dad
tension. There's no, or there's no tension about it. There's
it's
no,
just accepted and normalized.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, so then we get this shot that hurts so bad. Everyone is celebrating in the Kingfisher. And Elena says, here's to turning 26 and a full fucking ride to grad school, baby. And everyone cheers and clinks their glasses. And he's standing there with the cupcake. And we slowly pan out to see that Scott is outside looking in.
Full on, I'm on the outside, I'm looking in. Like, oh my God. And the fact that he's in like silhouette as well, and just like the way he turns and like looks down as if to say, like, I should be in there. I'm keeping myself out, you know, just, it's an arrow in the heart.
It hurts so bad.
Plus, like, I'd be in the Kingfisher enjoying that moment, let's be real. Looks like I'm having a great time in there.
Yeah. There's cupcakes too.
I mean, I'm already
alcohol and cupcakes.
I'm already there.
So we cut back to the Sochi Olympics. Scott's staring off into space. Vaughn's getting ready behind him. He says, "Hey, get dressed, man. It's the gold medal fucking game." And Scott says, "Oh, yeah, totally." And we see him put his regular socks on over his banana socks.
He's still hiding Kip. Even in this moment, he's pulling something over to hide Kip. And he knows he is. That's the thing that hurts the most. That's why he's staring off, because he's like, oh my God, I'm still doing this. And pulling that sock, that normal, boring ass-looking sock over the top of the beautiful sock that Kip gave him and what means the world. That's the icing on top of the cake of this episode of the Scott journey. And again, you can imagine like later on, like in episode 5, when like, you know, he asks Scott to come down, asks Kip to come down, gives him a big kiss. He ain't got those socks on. He's just wearing the banana socks. Let's be real in that moment. But yeah, what a beautiful way to end this episode, just with that visual metaphor. It was so well done.
Yeah. I also I think this is such brilliant storytelling to bring us back to a moment from the original timeline, like in the beginning, you know, taking us there and then bringing us back here again to keep us rooted in like where we're at in the Shane and Ilya storyline, even though they fucked up the timeline.
Even though they fucked it all up.
You know.
It would have been beautiful if it wasn't fucked up. The hard part too for me, and this is just because I have to just say this, and Ashley knows this about me, but I have like a really literal brain, so like I need things to be like lined up. Like, I don't like things that don't make sense. And so the fact that it is this whole scene, it's beautiful, like you said, with the symbolism of what it is and the whole story. And if they had just had it be that this was how he was feeling instead of being at the Olympics, but have it be like that this is the struggle he was still having at that same game. At that final, and then that he came out after having that struggle, like it would have been so much better than having it be because that took you up until that point, and then you know, whereas this way it's like you're left thinking, okay, so this is supposed to be, even though there's obviously some circumstances throughout that show that it's happening in the middle of Shane and Ilya's other story that goes along. Even if you didn't do it like that, if they just had him putting on those socks right before it was the cup, that would have made sense. But right now we have it looks like they broke up, right?
Yeah. And then it's like, how does he even know he's at the game? Like,
right, because it what it does to me is it makes it like, so this whole thing at like the cup game, it just makes it a little bit more confusing because it's like he knows he's there. It looks like, as far as we could see, that he's in his seats.
The seats,
like it's the same seats, and his dad is there, and Elena's there. And the line that she says about him being sad is the same line that happens in the book when they are back together, when he's at this cup. And so it all is set up as if they're together, but they've been hiding. So now we're supposed to wonder what they did for 3 years, you know, because, and he just assumed, because to me, I would never, if I was Scott, I would not be on the ice assuming that 3 years later, a man I haven't seen for 3 years is still in love with me enough to bring him down like this. It doesn't look like that. It looks like they still have a relationship. Yeah. Right?
Yeah.
So I don't know. I just feel like they kind of messed up us under feeling that same connection.
Yeah.
So I'm hopeful that in the next season that somehow they like show how they have actually been together for those 3 years and like what they like. I would love it if it actually was that Scott didn't actually leave the Kingfisher, that he actually did go in and like was like, hey, this is the situation, and let Kip be, because that's kind of how it happens in the book. They kind of both slowly come out to their friends and to some of his teammates and stuff. And so,
and he like has dinner at Kip's dad's house, so
yeah,
like at the family home, meets them, everything before.
Yeah.
He's like already told his agent, like, I'm gonna come out, like,
yeah. He's told his friend, he's told his teammates, he's told Carter. Carter's reaction is, I'd love to see that in the show. That would be great.
That's good to know.
I think all of that would be really good as background of like maybe them telling, I don't know, Shane and Ilya somehow, or some, you know, like get some amount of us seeing what happened in that interim time, and then just having to ignore the fact that that they made it look like it happened in the middle of Shane and Ilya's situation as well. So I don't know.
Yeah.
But that's also something I don't think you would notice if you didn't watch it several times. You wouldn't have noticed all the little things that made it look like it was still part of, happening over the course of those 3 years.
Right.
So.
Oh.
Yeah.
It's so funny because like we're all like, oh, at the end of this episode, but then it makes it worth it for episode 5. Do you know what I mean? It makes
definitely.
it 100% worth it. And you answered my question, Andy, and obviously actually what I was going to ask was like, does he slowly over time like come out to people like on his own terms, like his immediate, teammates, and then like, then like he's getting introduced to Kip's dad. So that's good to know actually that he's slowly building his circle out until that moment when he's like, fuck it, going to burst this now. The whole world's going to know, which, great for him. I'm excited.
Yeah.
But
all right, well, we are at the end. So I believe we have some superlatives. What is your favorite scene? I'll go first. So my favorite scene is going to be the Kip and Elena at the game for the first time with like Scott waving, trying to get his attention. It's so wholesome, and like it sets like up there. You get to see like Kip and Elena's like funny little dynamic and how she's like clocking everything all at once. But I want to give an honorable mention to Elena's dance with Scott in the speech and everything. And an extra honorable mention to Baby's first chirp and subsequently Baby's first fight, because I love it so much.
I think all of my favorite scenes is Girl, because that's iconic. But I also have to give it to Scott's speech in the apartment when he's like, "Can I just say something?" And like he just like verbally blurts it all out because it's so beautifully done. Like that whole scene of them two together is it's so good. But also just the scene as well of when he brings him the socks for the first time. Like that, I kind of spoke about it earlier, but that's the good stuff in a relationship, and it was beautiful to see that. Yeah, so those were mine by far.
Well, mine, I said we all had different ones, so that's kind of fun. I really loved the boyfriend montage, the like where he's, I don't know, I don't remember exactly which part it started, but the song where it's like going back and forth between, oh, I don't have a boyfriend, I do have a boyfriend, like that part. I really liked that little thing, and just my funny part is I really love the like where he's like, or I pick or
It's so good
because that got like a laugh at, like it got a genuine response from me right away just because it was so.
I think when I watched that first, I think I said or like at the same time.
Right. Yeah. I think we're all picking
one answer to this question.
Yeah, there's only one right answer.
Right.
Yeah.
No, I think I'll have the 4-step meal that you ordered to have instead.
Yeah, right.
Can you imagine?
Right. Nobody would want
Let me see the apartment first.
Yeah, I need to see the kitchen before we get naked. Okay, what are our favorite quotes?
Girl.
I have two.
Girl, yes.
Yeah, that's a good one.
So good.
I have two. I love he deserves sunshine, and so do you.
Yeah, that's what I put for mine.
Yeah.
Mine, I love the Ilya one too. Is my second one. Where he's like, "It's more fun if you're there."
So good.
Yeah, I have girl times every time it's said, but also nobody wants to be kept a secret, which is shortly before what you just said, Andy. I think that's beautiful, and I love that line. That wraps up that's the whole sentiment of the whole episode.
Yeah. I also chose He Deserves Sunshine, and so do you. But my honorable mentions are Girl and do you like Mexican food? Of course, I'm not a serial killer.
Yeah.
Also good.
Okay, favorite musical moment or music cue?
Initially at the beginning of the episode when I didn't realize it was the song, and I just heard like that weird intro to it, and I was like, what the fuck is this? And then when it kicked in, I was like, holy shit, it's the song. Yeah, so probably that for me.
That's fair.
Yeah,
that's
same.
Fair.
That's mine too.
Yeah.
I did not pick that one.
Ooh.
It's not even an honorable mention.
Oh, wow, okay.
For me. I was like, I'll save that one for episode 5. So I chose the score that plays for their first hookup. It is a French name that translates to The Night Is Long.
Oh, gorgeous.
And I just want to love on Peter for a little bit because what an amazing...
that's amazing.
An amazing soundtrack he gave us. There's an article that came out today interviewing him, and I just wanted to read some of it because I learned some stuff.
Cool.
So this was the first time that he ever composed an original score. And he said that Jacob DM'd him and was like, hey, I'm working on a script and I've been listening to your most recent album, and I was wondering if you'd be interested in composing a screen score.
Wow.
And he was like, yeah, sure. And so he said he researched hockey movies and so was trying to like get inspired while he was reading the script. And then he said, I was envisioning something with a more fast-paced rhythm for the intimate scenes. And when I received the first footage, it was way different than I expected. It was way more sensual and delicate, so I changed the way I was picturing the music for that. And I got inspired by the raw footage once I had it. And they said, the score works so well with the editing of the show. Did you do most of the composing once you saw the actual footage? And he said, I kept a few ideas here and there, but when I received the footage, I threw basically everything down the drain from what I had composed. I saved maybe 2 or 3 melodies. And then when I had the picture lock, I started composing. I had about 2 months to write the whole show. It was my first experience, but I felt really connected to the series right away. I got attached to the characters just reading the script. And he says, let's see, the score really mirrors where Ilya and Shane are emotionally with one another. And Peter said that was intentional and sometimes beyond what I thought I could give. It was just a connection with the actual footage and with the images and the characters. The score was built and composed with sincerity. I had the episodes in my digital workstation and I was all synced up to my setup. So I was playing along with the characters and everything. So I was improvising live to the images. And sometimes it was based on a very specific tempo. So for the songs like the 4 different heartbeat titles, the tempo is fluctuating, so I didn't impose any tempo on the scene. I thought it could be really cool if it built with their hearts racing because of their connection together, and so I went with that. There have been no conversations about season 2 that he's willing to share. And it says, was the plan always to release the score, or was that something that came up after? And he said, I remember in my contract there was something stipulated about the original soundtrack, but we didn't talk about it while we were working. When we were done, the producer was like, let's talk about an original soundtrack early next year in 2026. But the reactions were so out of this world that we had to start during the holidays. So yeah, we weren't anticipating anything like that, and it was great. As soon as the show came out, people talked about the music a lot. So it was a very nice surprise for all of us, really. We're still very happy. We rushed things because the fans really wanted it, so we had to push things forward. So I just thought those were interesting that he was watching the show while making the music, which I feel like is rare in this context. Like, I know they make changes and stuff, but I feel like they usually come with okay, I read the script and here's what I'm thinking, and then they kind of adjust it to go along with the photos. The fact that he threw out everything he had worked on basically and started fresh while watching it, I feel like it shows. The music is so good.
It reminds me of, there's a scene in that movie The Holiday where Jack Black is a composer for that, and that's what he does. He's watching the show, the movie, while he's playing it.
Yeah.
So I guess I just, from that movie, assumed that's how they all did it. I had no idea about.
I mean, maybe it is. I'm totally also guessing.
I think Hans Zimmer does it that way as well. But no, all I was gonna say is we are not even at the cottage, and One Soul is already my choice. That music has been on repeat in my mind. So gorgeous. And when you've watched the Truman Show, Ashley, you'll see where I'm coming from. Because it's very similar to something in there.
Interesting. I'll be on the lookout for that as I watch. But my runner up for favorite musical moment was their the montage when they're getting together. The song that plays is called Lumiere by Alpha Rococo, maybe. I love that. Just the music with the montage that we get. I feel like it fits really well. It makes me feel all the things I'm supposed to feel. So that was my other one.
Yes.
Yeah, that was my follow-up one.
Nice. All right, let's get to our chaotic scale. ratings. Where are we on the scale?
Oh, the scale always blows my mind because I'm like, do I go high because it means good? But then my heart stopped, which is also a good, but also a bad thing. So I'm like, where am I at right now?
See, Adam is like me too then. He wanted the rules like me.
And I'm like, no rules. Chaos.
So I'm in an 8,926 because the payoff in episode 5 for all of this is just the cherry on top of that gorgeous cake. And like, as I said earlier on, like for me, this episode was integral to pull me into the show. As I say, I actually wanted to put my head on a spike the first kind of 2 episodes when we were texting about it. Because you were like,
she even texted me that you didn't like it.
Yeah. I was like, Andi, Adam doesn't like it.
She was like, who is this guy? to my voice from all the other episodes of the podcast. But like, no, it was just like, and again, it wasn't that I didn't like it. It's just I couldn't get into it properly. I don't know. There was something that is for the reasons I outlined earlier. Like it was that emotional connection. And then once this episode came along, I think they did so much with 48 minutes of telling this like beautiful story of 2 people coming together, you know, really honoring the books, obviously changing a few things here and there because they had to for time constraints. But what a beautiful way to tell this story. And I think this is very traditional storytelling in many ways. 2 people have a meet cute. We see how they come together, all of that. And whereas like the first 2 episodes are kind of, yes, we also see people meeting, but boy, we are jumping around a lot. But again, we don't spend a lot of time with Scott and Kip. We have this episode, we have, you know, little bits kind of peppered throughout. We have that gorgeous moment in episode 5. But I think we got so much of beautiful storytelling, which also continues into the cottage, you know, where we see mirroring of this episode a lot, where Shane's trying to keep Ilya in his world, you know, until his dad walks in. So like this for me was like, I'm in. And then from this point onwards, epic television.
Yeah. 4, 5, and 6 really are like fucking bangers after banger after banger.
Literally,
oh my
everything
God.
in them is incredible.
Yeah.
Andi?
Well, I followed the rules because I am a rule person. I literally am probably the only one, Adam, on her vote of keep the chaotic scale or go for, you know, get rid of it. And I was like, please get rid of it. I don't think I can handle this because I don't know how to answer it if I don't know. But so I put myself and forced myself to choose it on the 0 to 5 scale. So for most of the whole episode, I would say I'm a 5 because of the same reasons you said, Adam. It is what really hooked me into the show and like really got me the feelings into it because it's where feelings actually start to show up. But then I had to drop it to a 3 because it makes me sad at the end.
Yeah.
And I don't even remember where you were talking about it, Ashley, but something about your explanation of this, the scale is like how much your heart stops with happiness, not with sadness or any of those other things. And so I was like, okay, well, my heart is happy the entire time until the very end. And so yeah, it's like the last 5 minutes, then I dropped down to a 3. But the rest of it, I'm at a 5.
That's fair. That's completely fair.
Yeah. That's very similar to my answer. I'm at a 3.5 in this one because while they are so cute and I love them and I'm so happy for them, it hurts so much. It hurts so much that I fucking got up and read the book. Like, like I literally read the book immediately after this because I was like, I can't be left here with these 2. And so, it's for most of the episode, I'm way off the scale, but because of the sadness, the overwhelming sadness that I feel
that's fair
towards the end, it levels me back down at a 3.5.
Yeah.
And I haven't, so far, 1, 2, and 3, I haven't gone off the scale for my rating, but it's coming, okay?
I was going to say, my 6th one will have to, mine will not follow the scale when I get to that point. So.
The cottage, there is no scale. Like, literally, there are just numbers.
It's obliterated.
Literally.
Yeah. All right, well, before we head out, do you guys want to tell everyone where they can find you, Adam?
Sure. You can find me everywhere on social media at Strawn87, literally on everything. That's my handle. If you want to follow the podcasts, as Ashley said at the beginning, We have Into You podcast and Last Week On podcast. Ashley has been on Last Week On podcast for a couple of things. But yeah, literally just check out Last Week On pod and Into You pod and you'll find them everywhere. They're also available on all of the streaming services. Go and check them out.
Yeah. Andi?
Well, because I'm a normal person who doesn't have podcasts, because I'm not exciting enough to have a life like that. But I am on Instagram at AndiBrown82, and it's Andi with an I. And I do write Heartstopper fan fiction on AO3, and my handle there is AGOBY. So you could find me there if you want. And actually, probably by the time this episode drops, I think my first Heated Rivalry one will be starting to drop. So, yeah.
And Andi's a phenomenal writer. So go read all of her things.
Oh, thank you.
You're welcome. All right. I suppose that wraps us up for today. We will be back in 2 weeks to talk episode 4, Rose. If you want to follow us online, we are at Why Are We Cast on all platforms. And if you like this, please consider rating and reviewing us as it helps others find us. Until next time, bye.
Bye.
Bye.